champions. Celtic way, wave for the ball from side to side, and until they try to hide, the wave for the ball from front to back. Attack, 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 67, and they need to burst, the buzzing in the thousands.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Celtic Rumours TV, episode number 214 of the Bawz and Bovril podcast with myself. We've got Big Jerry Ways tonight. How you doing, Jerry boy?
Evening, Marco. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Well, apart from that garbage day, a poor day at Swine Castle for everybody, I think.
Yep.
And back with us as well tonight, our wee Irish angry man. How you doing, Terence?
Good, boys. Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks very much for coming again, Ter. You as well, Jerry, by the way. We've got Jerry and Ter, obviously. Kieran's coming on as well. Kieran made his debut last week, so he'll be coming on again later on. This is a podcast for our forum. It's www.celticrumours.co.uk. You can find the links to everything, our Discord and everything in the description box below where we're linked to thing is. A few wee shout-outs to some of the lads off the forum. Paul, Mad Dog, Jerry McGinn, old Tim Alloy, JFP's wee granddaughter get baptised today, so that's wee Annie, part of the Catholic faith. Wee JFP will be sitting 10 sheets to the wind with a tear in his eye somewhere, wouldn't he, Jerry? Mikey, wee John United Ireland, Big Jabber, Deef Kev, Welshie, Malika, TB for the Discord. Who have we got in the chat? Looks like a few people in already considering. Bobby, cheery as ever there, Bobby. All he does is moan and all when the fit was on. Honest to God, man. FTR 212 L, nice to see you, mate. G-Dog, thanks very much for coming in, mate. Cracking to see you. Grot Bags. Rod Patel, I forgot who that is now. We know who that is, didn't we? Forgot. John O'Rourke, nice to see you, John. Davy Gallagher, nice to see you again, Davy. Head of the Vatican State, WPM. Plunge. Oof. Liam Doyle, nice to see you again, mate. Football is life. Patrick McLaughlin. People's names are all different. Is there something went wrong with? I know what it is. I'm looking at that on YouTube rather than on the StreamYard thing. Right, that's me sorted, right? Football's life. Kev Boy. Dr. Strangelove, thanks very much for coming in. PP Cameron, thanks again, mate. There's Bobby there too. Out of breath doing all that there, man.
Say, man, about an hour for the show.
I know. Well, we might as well start that garbage today. I mean, what can you really say about it? Terence, you go. We've not joined for a while, so you can go first tonight.
Utter shite. I'm sorry. There's a manager. People can blame the board all they want, and the board have a level of blame. I get that, but we go on every week about it. The manager's paid big money to manage the team. The clue's in the name. He hasn't an idea what he's doing. Not a clue. There looks like there's disharmony between everyone and anyone. They had the last maybe 5 or 10 minutes of the first half, they were playing well. The Hearts manager went in. They came out and the Hearts manager changed his tactics. He pressed them forward. He pushed the Hearts players on top of Celtic and they couldn't do it. And yet our manager can't change it. He's after playing a guy who's played 9 games in 4 years for Celtic. Young Murray. He's been thrown under the bus. He had a mare. Look, he had a nightmare. But he's played 9 games in 4 years for Celtic. Where's the Man City guy that was there to centre back? I don't know. Maybe he's gone back. I don't know. I know Trusty's on the bench. But if he's going to play him and he doesn't have faith in him, I'm not saying he did or didn't, but why can't he change the formation? Why can't he play 3 at the back and 5 in the middle and flood the midfield? Do something. He's supposed to be an elite manager. You could get any manager in the SPL to manage Celtic at the minute because they go 4-3-3, and all what they do is they get the ball and they pass it backwards. And any manager worth his salt, if he's an elite manager and he thinks that Rio Hatate should be on that field for the length of time he's on it in the last few games, is clearly watching a different game to what I'm watching. He makes the worst substitutions I've fucking ever seen. Taking off the only guy that had any bit of directness with him today, and bringing on the colour. What's the Balak or whatever his name is? The fella on the other wing. He was useless. The fella that came on, the Dutch fella, is it?
Balak Wisher.
Yeah, rubbish, absolute rubbish. He offers nothing. And Engels was terrible again today. Hatate is an absolute joke shop at the minute. But yet the manager keeps these players on. He doesn't change tactics. It's barely above walking pace. Like, what does he expect? Like, what does he expect? Teams know the way they're going to play. Teams know the formation. Teams know everything. And he can't change it, or he can't motivate it, or he can't do anything. Injuries aside, fine, that's going to happen. But this is supposed to be Celtic, like. And they were well beaten by Hearts. And just before I finish, Mark, I saw the stat today that said Celtic had 66% possession. That shows you that Hearts only had obviously the 33, but yet Hearts had 37 or 8 touches in the Celtic box. Celtic at 21. That just goes back to what we were saying for weeks and weeks and weeks. All they do is pass it over and back, over and back, boring the bollocks off me.
Horseshoe football. It's horseshoe football, Terence. That's the shape of it.
It's rubbish football. It's just they played half decent football the other night against Dumgratz when they were 1-0 down. As soon as they got to 2-1, they reverted back to the same one nonsense. And the sooner he buggers off, the better. You could have got any manager. You could have got any manager in the SPL, Mark, to manage Celtic at the minute. To the way he's managing them and the way they're playing. Any manager. The sooner he goes, the better. And I've been trying to be very polite on the phone here now, rather than effing and blinding. But he is driving me up the walls. He's blaming everyone. And as they famously saying, a bad workman always blames his tools. There's only one tool in this, and it's him. And that's a fact. He's 100% to blame for what's going on the pitch. In regards to the players' attitude, the tactics, everything that's going on the pitch. You can blame the board for so much, but when those players cross the line, and Celtic are told they get the ball at the halfway line, or when they win a corner, they do a short corner, and it goes back to Casper Schmeichel. You're not going to turn around and tell me that that's Michael Nichols telling them to do that. It's the man on the sideline. It's the man on the sideline telling them to do this. Keep the ball, keep the ball, keep the ball, keep the ball. And it's just unbelievably bad to watch. And they'll be lucky to beat the other crowd next week, even as bad as they are. And I said this to you the other day, Mark, sorry, I know I'm going on here, but I said it to you the other day. I wouldn't have been surprised if they lost to Stone Grants. And I said they'll probably lose today. And I said they'll probably lose next weekend. And please God, he will then. Sorry, I'm going to say. And he will then fuck off. They'll probably lose to them as well. And then he'll fuck off, hopefully.
No, they're no. I mean, they're no way Celtic's going to sack Brendan Rodgers. And I can't I can't really see that. And I don't think he'll walk away either. So I think we're at a bit of kind of stalemate.
But that's the problem.
I totally agree with you. I've said this all along as well. Right, we can moan about the board and all that, right? But the window's shut. We can't do anything about it. Any manager, but it's still every press conference, the press and even the Celtic fan media that get to them, they're all bringing up, oh, what about the summer and the signings? We can't do anything about that now. Concentrate on what we can do. As you said, Terence, he's meant to be an elite level manager. Well, work it out then, Rodgers. That's what you're getting paid today.
100%, Mark, and that's what I said. I don't know if the Man City lad has left the club. I know he hasn't played any games.
No, he was there today, Terence. I seen a picture on Twitter of him turning up at Tynecastle with his Celtic jacket and stuff and all that. He was there kitted out and that, and never got even in the squad.
Well, what does that say to him? You cannot turn around and say to me, we're short players. If you have a guy that's been there since the start of the season, he's involved in Man City, whatever level, you can argue that point. And you're playing a guy who's played 9 games in 4 years.
But I think Simpson boosted Terence. I think he's only played about 7 games his full career, I know, so. But I do get what you mean, but I mean, is Trusty fit enough? Why was Trusty no given like the
I was
starting
going to
slot?
say that, Mark.
And then bring Murray on later on if Trusty's no fit enough to play the 90 or that.
If Trusty's on the bench, he has to be fit to play some part. Otherwise, it's a waste of time having him on the bench. And like that, I agree with you. If Trusty isn't match fit, fine, he isn't. But if you say, look, can you give me an hour? Can you give me an hour? And go, look, yeah, I can certainly give an hour. Then you can maybe throw in Dane Murray when the kind of, I suppose, I won't say the spark has gone out of it, but you know, the ferocity of the whole start of it and everything else going mad at the start is kind of maybe guys are that little bit more tired. He's a bit more time to get into the game. But I mean, like, it's unbelievable to watch, Mark, the way the team plays football. And as I said, how he hasn't changed it and gone, do you know what? Well, I'll go 3 at the back. I'll put 3 midfielders right in the middle and do my utmost to protect them as best as I can. Put a Bernardo sitting in there in front of them and just make it really hard for Hearts. They don't make it hard for Hearts. They don't make it hard at all for Hearts today. The lad on the wing for Hearts, every time he got the ball, I felt sorry he was one-on-one with that young Donovan lad. And I think he's a good player. I like that guy. I like him playing.
I'd have went with Ralston the day. Just the experience and a bit more physical and stuff, and just even for that, I think playing Donovan and Murray, 2 young guys, that half of the defence was a mistake again for Rodgers.
But why, Mark? Then doesn't Rodgers think if he doesn't want to play the 2 boys? Why doesn't he play Ralston, Scales, and Tierney as a back 3? Flood the midfield with a Bernardo, McGowan, and McGregor, and leave the boys boys left and right, and put Engels number 10 and leave Kenny up front. Make it awkward. Mm-hmm. Make it awkward for them. He doesn't like. Do you know what I mean? Again, Celtic were overrunning midfield. That is for the birds. Like, he's for the birds.
But I mean, even during the game terms, see, like for 10 minutes, change something that Hearts aren't expecting. Like, stick Taneki up front beside Kenny for 10 minutes to see how it just to throw Hearts off with their marking systems and stuff like that.
But this is what I'm saying, Mark. Hearts done it in the second half. Like.
And the substitutions, they're just the same for same, like for like. You want to make substitutions that are going to change the game, but like with different tactics, a different style. All we're doing is replacing replacing batteries in a remote. The remote's not going to do anything different. It's just going to do the same thing.
But today he took off batteries that were working and put in batteries that were dead. That's the difference.
Taking Taneki off is bizarre.
You know, he's taking him off. Like, he's taking Taneki off and he's bringing on that lad that you said there, Bachwala or whatever. And at the same time, he thinks that Tati's playing okay. And he thinks that Engels is playing okay. I don't know what game he's watching. I genuinely do not know what game he's watching. And he does the same subs as you said all the time. He'll pull off a couple of wingers. Like, why didn't he, like, when it was 3-1, why didn't he just change formation, leave Kenny on and bring on Shin and adjust it? Just, like, they may as well have lost 4-1 as 3-1. Do you know, why not change the back and go, right, we'll go 3 at the back, have a few in midfield and try something. Instead, like, the definition is stupidity. He's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what he's doing.
I mean, we can sit there, right, we can talk about, we can pick your bones or certain individual players' performances and stuff like that. But for me, the main thing in the Celtic team now is the midfield. It's like powder puff. It's non-existent. I mean, Cal McGregor, don't get us wrong, he was great the other night, and he was no bad for a good spell of the day's game. But again, was he getting let down with the people round about him?
100%. Mark, McGregor was the only person in the middle of the park today that I saw had a little bit of bite in him. He had one there with the Australian lad for Hearts. But he was the only one that was having a bit of a bite and a bit of a kick and a bit of a tackle. Like, it just slows everything down. And Engels had a nightmare today. a nightmare today. As much as he might have tried, he had a nightmare today. But again, the manager's making those changes, Mark, so late in the game. Like, what do you know?
I should have made changes at half time today, 100%. I should have been changes at half time.
Change the personnel, change the tactics, change the way. Like, how he can think that they played so well against Stumgratz for that period of time where they passed and moved and it was excellent. How he thinks that was, they could do that the other night. But you know what? No, I'm going to revert back to when we have the ball at the halfway line. Hoof it back to Casper Schmeichel there. And then he'll pass it out to a young lad who'll pass it to another young lad. And let's put them under the world of pressure and see what happens. You're there going like, how he can look at that and think that, yeah, that tactic worked perfectly. Any half-decent manager would say to themselves, right, I need to keep the ball away from young Dane Murray today. I don't need him under any pressure at all. But instead, Celtic put him under as much pressure as they could possibly do by the way they play out from the back and expect guys to do that who aren't capable of doing that. Rodgers has just done my nothing now, to be honest. Completely done my nothing.
That you get off, you're just in. There was about 22 minutes of wee tears just going mental. Love it.
Rant over.
Kieran, how you doing? Kieran, you've not been on with Kieran. You met Kieran or that, have you? Kieran's on the Discord now. He's a young lad. He's just quite no far from me. Decent enough. He was on last week. How you doing, Kieran?
I'm good, mate. Thanks very much for having us on again.
Oh, no bother.
It's good. What did you make of today? Shocking, eh? Shocking, but not surprised.
No.
Not surprised. I mean,
just had a pure rant about it. So what's your take on it then, Kieran?
Right. The right back shouldn't have been put in that position because he's like the Ralston is to Johnson. He should be the backup, you know. I thought that's why Brendan brought him on Thursday, and that Ralston was actually going to play today. I thought he was saving Ralston. It would have made a lot more sense. The way Hearts play, Ralston's got more knowledge of the Scottish game about him. He's a more solid figure. I mean, the wee right back played today is pretty solid, but he's not got enough experience. Dane Murray should not have played. Dane Murray should have played, right? That's fine. But I caught the end of what Ter said there, and the system that Brendan has them playing, pass. It doesn't work. Like, it works, but see, when you're under the cost that much, why are people still playing the passes? It doesn't make sense to me. Like, all you're doing is you're leading yourself into trouble. Now, there were some very good bits today. Like, I seen to play from like Teretke, you know, just wee bits and bobs that were okay.
There was about 25 minutes, Kieran, I couldn't see he's losing the game when we came back to one each.
Absolutely. But I just feel that, like, see, after about that 25, 30 minutes, you could see Hearts, obviously after they scored, then we scored straight away, but you could see Hearts were edging back into it, you know. And it wasn't a surprise. Now, I did say the last time I was on that you can never guarantee what Celtic are going to turn up these days. And I think it was the Bishop that said, that was great. That was great on we against Motherwell, and he agreed with me. You know that you can't have the confidence because you don't know what Celtic's going to turn up. Like the next week. I mean, I know we never talked about the Dundee game the last time. That was what I've come to expect to Celtic this season. We are in I know it sounds like really corny, but it's almost like we're in a transitional period where we're going to have to go through the mire this season, and I wouldn't be surprised if Celtic end up. Obviously, you want them to win the league, right? But if you look at them over the river, they won their game today, right? You've got Hibs, who went on a really good run last year, so you can't really count them out. You've got Hearts, you know, Dundee United. Even we're going to, obviously no Falkirk, but we're going to have some good challengers this season, and Celtic need to get their finger out, otherwise it's going to be an even longer season than we feel at the moment. We're going to be on here constantly every week just moaning about the team. I mean, we do that anyway, but we're just going to be moaning about them more. I feel that Brendan's time's up. Brendan's time's up. He's basically, it's almost as if he's making a point now by playing players and systems to get the result, but he's not that bothered if he doesn't. He's basically working his ticket out the door. I don't see him being here after this season. Now, he said he'd be here for 3 seasons. There is a slight possibility that'll be taken out of his hands. The board will patch him and getting some, you know what it's like, they'll get John Kennedy or Rob Maloney or somebody like that, ridiculous. Anyway, that's me done.
Neil Lennon.
Neil Lennon, aye. I've said that to somebody today.
No, they can't do that.
Behave,
was
for
it-
fuck's sake.
Somebody on the Discord
somebody
said
could have won that.
Martin O'Neill for director of football, and I'm like, nah, Neil Lennon is manager.
But again, I think Fitbit's moved on for the Martin O'Neill days.
Exactly. But see, don't get me wrong, I'm the same because I was a season ticket at that period. That was my kind of period of, you know, that was excellent. You know, 1999 to 2007 or 8 or whatever it was, that I said my season ticket. That was so. Lennon was in obviously, you know, all the players of that era. Martin O'Neill being the manager for the first bit of it. Larson, it all came in brilliantly. Celtic have been the dominant force in Scottish football for 25 years, bar a few hiccups, shall we say, with the Mankey Wobble with the whatever. But we're going to have to go through a few rough years, I think. And the reason for this is it all boils down to the board have kept their hands in their pockets when they could have done a lot more to help the team out. And I like that shout from whoever FTR 2012L is. Bellamy as the next manager. That might be a shout.
I've seen a few folk putting his name in the kind of ring for it. Do you know what I mean? But about Martinez, I know he's in contract with Hingby, but maybe Maloney's in there to be. I mean, right. I've said this before. See, for me, Maloney, it's a weird job that I think the Celtics got Maloney in, right? Because he's been a manager. He's coached under Martinez in there. I'd have put him in the dugout on the training pitch, helping Rodgers coach the team. At least some fresh ideas, just something
to get some experience, like.
Aye.
Yeah, but do you not think Rodgers' ego's too big for that?
It probably is, Terence. But
it probably is, aye.
But I mean, it goes back to. I mean, it's the same old. But do you know what I mean? It's like, and I've said this before the last couple of times on the pod, right? Alex Ferguson used to change his assistant and mix up his coaches every few years to get fresh ideas in, and freshen things up and keep things progressing and moving on. And we're no. I mean, because every manager we bring in right away is getting lumped with John Kennedy's assistant. Now, I don't know if John Kennedy's a good coach or no. Right, the players, a lot of players that I've worked under him speak highly of him. Has he get the balls to go and be a manager in his own? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe coaching is just his like what he's good at. But
did he not have a few games a few seasons ago in between managers?
He
didn't really make a great fist of it.
But he just kind of kept going the same way, wouldn't he? He just kept the same old.
It's like he's got no fresh ideas. He tries to keep things consistent while slowly developing his own ideas into the team, but it's not going to work. You know, you need a completely fresh start, in my opinion.
Right, Jerry. The troops are the guys in the chat are like, here's for you. He's even muted his mic. He might be sleeping.
Me?
No, Jerry.
Oh, Ter, no, he's probably, it was that rant he had when I was first coming on there.
Jerry's on, I know. Jerry and Ter's on.
Jerry on?
Aye, Jerry's there, aye.
Jerry's asleep. Is he the guy that works in the van with the young lad that was on once? No?
Jerry?
Aye.
No. Jerry's big Campsy.
Oh, right. Aye. Who is it works for the council?
That's Jerry.
Aye, Greg, that's it. Greg.
He was on with Greg. Greg's not a young guy. Greg's older than me.
Is he? All right, okay.
Aye, Greg's a character.
Aye. The episode of Still Game going on there, and that's it.
Well, Jerry will come on when he wakes up. But I mean, right, the injuries, but I know it's no ideal. Again, that goes back to recruitment. But you've got to look at the injuries and all that we've got. Any team losing the type of players of that kind of calibre, that kind of importance to their team, it's going to have some kind of effect. But I still keep, and it goes back, and Terence touched on it, and you touched on it, Kieran. For me, when the players go onto that park, when they cross that white line, there's nothing to do with the board. There's nothing to do with recruitment. There's no excuses for Celtic putting in the performances they have. And I even get back to the Kairat game. That was, for us not to score a goal against a team at that level for over 180 minutes. What was it, 210 minutes, is it, with extra time you get? For me, that's one of them. I mean, they've embarrassing one-half results like the Lincoln Red Imps kind of shite and the Wraith Rovers going back years and all that kind of stuff. But for me, that was one of the most embarrassing and worst results, like our two ties. And
don't say that. You've just triggered me by saying Wraith Rovers. I was at that game.
Aye, I was at that too. Aye, but
I mean, they
were all shocking results, one-half shocking results. Do you know what I mean? But to go and get put out with a team that Kairat's level, that's never acceptable to me.
Nah.
You woke up, Jerry.
Sorry, mate. I dozed off there.
Did you literally doze off?
I don't be ridiculous. I ended up downstairs. Some half-wit was at the door and the dogs were going after chump. So I didn't answer. No, I was listening to Ter. To start with, I couldn't really disagree with anything Ter said. The Donovan was let down, I think, by Nygren playing in front of him. Dane Murray, I thought he would have started just because he's a right-hand sided central defender, and it worked out, well, it should have worked out a wee bit better. Trusty, it's amazing when players have no kicked a ball for ages, how good they become. Trusty, he said about a couple of decent games for us, and you can look at Rodgers recruitment-wise, he's spent $6 million on him, and he's still not prepared to throw him into a game that we should be winning, and we needed. We didn't need to win right now, right? I'm going to say a lot of folk are getting carried away. All the I told you so brigade will be happy as Larry the night with that result, but it doesn't get away from the fact that recruitment's been shite for the last year, 2 years, whatever you want to say. Last January we should have strengthened. Even last summer we could have done better. January we should have strengthened. Then the summer was abysmal. But getting back to the game today with Rodgers, team selection wasn't ideal. He's going to hang his hat in Hatate and he's going to get him hung. How he can still be getting a game's beyond me. Nygren was a man down in that right-hand side, and then that's impacting on Murray and Donovan. The Murray's obviously, he's had a bit of a nightmare of a game. Nygren could have been off, should have been off, should have scored. I don't know how he's gone for that wee dink where he should have just put his laces through it. Should have made us 2-1 up. Hatate, a man down. McGregor, I thought was going to take the game by the scruff of the neck in that first half and drive us on. I thought he had a decent game the first half. Second half, he makes the subs. Aye, we were crying out. I mean, Taneki's our most direct player. He takes him off. I'd have had Taneki, I'd have left him on, but I'd have took off Nygren, Kenny and Hatate. Hatate's just, I mean, McGregor's playing that middle of the park himself, and Tynecastle's a hard place to go when you're not on form and when things are against you. It's one of the wee tight, long pitches, a wee kind of hostile atmosphere because they're mutants, them up there. So, hard game. Again, Rodgers, the board have let him down, but he's also let himself down with some of his selections and some of his nonsense. I thought Shin showed more than Kenny. Kenny's a willing runner, and dare I say it, he reminds me of Bratback. He gets into all the positions, does all the running. Just, he could have hit water if he fell out a boat. So, it's, I think... But again, Shin a board signing, and that's how Rodgers has been reluctant to play him. I don't know.
Yep, Marion Shred too. It is totally.
I think so.
But as well too, Jerry, just when you're saying it there, in every game that Celtic play that we watch, that like particularly say we say about the Derby games the whole lot, we always say it's the midfield. It's the midfield, it's the midfield, it's the midfield. If you lose the midfield battle, generally speaking, you're going to be under the cosh, you're going to be under pressure. And the amount of games that the Celtic are playing, like even against Dundee there recently, they lost every ball in the middle. They lost every 50-50 ball. Dundee were first to every ball. And again today, Hearts were first. I'd agree with you. McGregor, I thought, played decent today. At least he put in a few tackles. Hitati does my nothing at this stage. As good a footballer he is, but his head is somewhere else. And Engels was shocking. You wouldn't ask him to cross the road or ask him to pass you the salt the way he was crossing the ball today. He'd miss you by 40 yards. Like, he was terrible. Like.
That is one of the most careless passes of the ball at times I've seen. He just
He's
he gave the ball away. And that's the problem. I'm not solely blaming him, but see in Europe, how I would have always went with Bernardo. See his careless passing and all the rest of it, and he's the shadow of the player he was. He's nowhere near good enough to be playing in our midfield. And again, as you said, they're losing the 50-50s in the second ball and getting beat off Dundee. But like, one-off bad results can happen.
Of course they can.
Than that. This is more than that.
And as well too, for me, Hitati slows down everything. If Celtic win the ball if Celtic or if the opposition are attacking and Celtic win the ball off him a break, the ball comes to Hitati. He puts his foot in it. He stops. He turns around like a turtle. Then passes back. He's like a crab. He can only go sideways or back. He can't go forward like.
Yeah.
You know, and he allows the opposition to get back into play. He's becoming so bad. So when he first came in, his first notion was always attack first ball. Now, is that him per se, or is that the instruction? Because I watched Celtic take a corner today, and the ball wound up back at Casper Schmeichel. And you're 3-1 down, and you're taking a short corner, and it winds up back at Schmeichel.
We've seen that a few times. We've seen that a few times, Terence. Even when Joe Hart was here, that happened a few times.
Yeah. I don't understand it. You're getting two centre backs to go up for corners, and then you're doing a short corner. You're passing it back to say McGregor or whoever it is goes to McGregor, and then pass to someone else, and then maybe Ralston or Johnson if he's on, and he passes it back to the keeper. And you're going like,
this is Rodgers type of football there. See all that possession. Exactly, but we're not going to go score a goal for our own box. This is the thing. This is always it's been back to the same way it was when he was here previously. You're falling asleep watching it, and it's team. You said it earlier on. Teams have worked us out. We've played this 4-3-3. His in-game management, I used to think was good, but see now we're too predictable. Teams know how we're going to play. They just set up to nullify us, and then we get fucking bullied. See getting beat. See getting bullied, man. You're like. Fuck, somebody hit him, man, and get in their faces, man. Just
see McGregor the day. I like see that for McGregor the day.
Aye,
with the wee Hearts guy. Aye, I like that. I like.
That was proper McGregor. That was good.
Aye, just showing a wee bit. I mean, mind he used to have that wee kind of cheeky swagger about him when things were kind of getting a bit dirty. I think he kind of maybe even learnt that off of Scott Brown, maybe.
But I didn't know Scott Brown to protect him though.
No, but even do you know what I mean? McGregor, he used to have a bit of, he was always kind of in their face and having a wee bit of a cheeky. Mind you, who was it? He called a shite bag playing against Rangers. Mind he ran away from that.
That was Craig Taylor, wasn't it?
No, McGregor. That boy had the bandage in his face, whatever it was.
Barisic.
And we've not even seen that. We've not even seen that from McGregor this season or for a few months anyway. But that's more like what you're kind of looking for your captain.
Exactly.
That's me leading. For me, that's him leading by example. Yep. As if fucking don't let these fucking clowns get into your face and let them bully you.
Guys, there's a common denominator here. There's a common theme here, right? The fact that Alistair Johnson came back during the week, right? And I know he only played for 26 minutes, but he must have G'd up the team. And I just feel that him not playing previously, to us having a good result during the week when he did play and then being injured again, it's not good to be out for a while because he seems to be the common denominator where Celtic fit properly, you know, when AJ plays. I don't know why it happens. I mean, like he plays at the back, I don't know why, but he just tends to keep it together. I I know I said last time I like Ralston, and I do, but I just feel that maybe Ralston, Donovan, you know, Donovan's only a young guy. You can't really say he's that bad, but you know, it's.
Aye, let's not write the lads
defensive
off
back.
after having one bad
No,
game
no,
kind
no,
of thing, no.
no.
Which a lot of Celtic fans will do, but
But Mark, the thing about it is that Donovan lad came in. Sorry to cut across you there, but that Donovan lad came in.
sorry.
That Donovan lad came in a couple of weeks ago, and he had a spell where he played probably 5 or 6 games, and he played a European game, and he was outstanding.
in a couple of
Mhm.
Scotland under
But this is going
21s.
to happen with kids.
That's why Rodgers dropped him. That's why
I know,
Rodgers
but
dropped him the other
and
week.
then-
He
and then-
played all the games and a couple under 21 internationals.
Your
and he
confidence,
wanted-
his confidence would be shot for a game or two, you know.
I know, but then Rodgers takes him out of the team. Fair enough if you're saying that, Mark. But he takes him out of the team, and then he doesn't come back into the team. And then he comes back into the team. He comes back into the team when it's nearly sends back to the walls. Do you know the guy was playing great football. I thought he was doing really, really well at fullback and looking really, really solid. And so much so, I think I remember people commenting saying he'd be ahead of Ralston now. At this stage, when they were, if Johnson had come back, he'd be nearly the understudy because he had impressed so much. But then they take him out, and you don't know why he's out. And then he seems to be out for 3 or 4 games, and then he's back in. And now, like he's back in, like if he was going to be back in, you'd rather him be back in at home in Celtic Park than away at Tynecastle. Do you know? I don't know. I just meant to say another point. You were saying there as well a while ago, Jerry, about the possession. I said it there a while ago as well. Hearts had 37 touches in the Celtic box and they had 33% possession. Celtic had 20 touches in the Hearts box and they had 66% possession. So it goes back to what you were saying there. It's only ball passing over and back, over and back, over and back, over and back. Possession stats mean diddly squat until you see where it is.
It's like XG stats; they mean nothing.
Well,
You know,
that's-
that XG stuff they've
See,
just
when you
made
were
up.
See, when you were saying the Kieran there about Johnson in the team, I saw
Aye.
one of the kind of wee Stato guys that does stuff on Twitter,
Aye.
and he was saying that Engel seems to be the kind of missing link one. It's like, see, when he plays, all these XGs and all this kind of rise up a level.
Oh, I can't stand that. I can't stand that.
No, I don't know what that. I mean, I expected goals doesn't win at the end. You don't win a game with how many goals. I expect Celtic to win every game for nothing.
Do you remember we beat Barcelona?
You know what I mean?
9% possession or something like that.
Aye.
It just
But
it doesn't.
that's all that's just all.
You need to get the ball forward and into the
Aye.
box. That's how we beat Barcelona. Get the balls into the box and get the ball forward. See this passing about at the back. I mean, it's like watching paint dry.
Why do you have to do it? That's the thing I don't. That's the thing I don't understand, though, Jerry. Why do they think they have to do this? Is this just because
it's the manager? Look at Tanecki in midweek. There was a few times he could have went and beat his man, and I passed it back. I texted you, Mark, saying, "Is that Tanecki been Brendan now?" It's definitely the manager wanting all this recycle possession or what a lot of pish. Get the ball into the box,
completely.
try and get a goal, and then take it for there instead of all this
Brendan's style might be okay
possession
for
left, right. It's fucking.
Brendan's style
useless.
might be okay for Spain or England, but not up here. He'd be good the first time, as I think it was yourself, Jerry, said that or was it Mark said, well, people are used to how he plays. It's fine down in the public and it's fine like abroad in Spain or wherever you go, but his style doesn't suit up here anymore.
I mean, it's like people say just I would play against like Camp Toot in the box, 10 men behind the ball and that. Right, but instead of passing the ball about back the way and sideways and that.
And try to draw them out.
But since they do that, bring in use your players that can carry the ball and run it teams. Run it. You'll get free kicks. You'll get breaks of the ball. You'll get into the box. You might get a penalty. You maybe make an arse and fall on your face. But instead of just passing it about, just get your players to run at players and take them on.
Mark, there was times we were in possession. KT even done it and on, and there was acres of space in front of them. The centre halves and all. See when it's like that. Your defender's going to need to drive forward with the ball, and rather than waiting for him Callum McGregor or Hattati to show for it, or pass it back, pass it about at the back, they're going to need to get forward and try and make things happen themselves. Tierney had one was at the second half where he could have drove forward instead. Now he turns and passes it back to one of the centre halves. Go and beat a man or try and take him on. keep your wingers wide and try and get the ball into the box. There's no point playing this 4-3-3 and just passing the ball about and hoping and praying something's going to happen. And see, teams are going to sit back with 11 men behind the ball and let you pass it about at the back and say, I try and draw us out. You try and break us down. We know where you are going to play. The minute the ball gets to Scales, try and hit him because he's terrible with the ball at his feet. So it's a shit show, but that clown should never have been back in the first place.
And the other side of it, Jerry, is all teams have realised as well. Stop Callum McGregor, Celtic can't play. Just someone mark Callum McGregor in midfield, someone stick to him. We leave the centre-backs have the ball for Celtic. Their distribution isn't that great. And all of a sudden, they're like a rabbit in headlights. And it's, as you said, it's one thing this passing over back at the back, which does my nothing. But my God, if it got any slower, we would have gone to sleep. Like, it's one thing if they had done it with a bit of speed, which might open up a little bit of space for a winger. But it's so slow. There's times there where you see the defender and they're literally stopped with the ball at their feet. And they're stopped and they're looking left, they're looking right.
That's exactly it.
And you're there going like, if you saw that in the local soccer, Sunday league soccer, you'd go, this is a pile of shite, I'm going home. Do you know what I mean?
At times I've seen it, I've thought it myself, Vickers is whoever's had the ball, and I thought, drive forward and have a pop yourself, see if they're all going to stand off you. Drive forward, and if nobody's shown for it, you make them come to you, and that creates a space instead of just waiting about and passing and hoping you're going to draw them out. It's not going to work. Teams have worked us all out, and it's time that the 4-3-3, if that's not working, change it. Put two up top. Do something. Don't just rely on the same shite and then change a few players and hope it's going to work out, because it's pathetic. McInnes has got Mace managers have got his number now, but for that wee naff to flew his team to beat you 3-1's pathetic.
But they changed it at half time, Jerry. That was the thing. Celtic finished the first half strong. Like Mark said earlier, you could see Celtic going on to get a second at that session. They should have obviously got a second through Negrin. But then in the second half, you heard that McInnes changed it. He got their winger and Shanklin to press the Celtic defence when they had the ball, press them way up higher. But yes, they done that, but our manager still stood there and looked and said 4-3-3 is fine. Yeah, I'll leave young Donovan there and young Murray try pass the ball out through all these boys. They'll be grand. They'll be fine. There should be no issue. Do you know, instead of going, okay, he's changed this. It's like a chess game. He's made this move. Now what am I going to do to counter it? In Rodgers' case, zero. Zilch. Nothing. Unless it's either 4-3-3, it seems to be, or nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no plan B. There's no plan B. There's hardly even a plan A, to be perfectly honest. But there's no plan B. And when it goes pear-shaped, he's like, I'll take off the one winger that has an outlet first. I'll put on this fella that may as well be in the stand, and then I'll throw on a few other fellas, and then I might take him off and put him. You know, to me, it's like he's literally there going, right, close my eyes and just throw a load of darts at the board and see what happens. He just doesn't have a clue, and not a notion. And if he said he had the keys of a Ferrari or a Honda Civic instead of a Ferrari, I said to Mark, he went from a Honda Civic to an e-bike recently. He's now gone to my young fella's scooter. That's the level he's down at now, because it's appalling. And there comes a time in a place where you have to hold your hand up and take some responsibility. By God, he needs to take some serious responsibility now.
Yeah, he is getting. I mean, he's getting shown up just now because McInnes, I don't like him. I've never liked him since he was with them. But he's tactically very astute. He's a good manager. You know, whether you like him or you don't, he's a good manager. You just can't take that away from him. He was able to change it today. He nullified, as we were saying earlier on there. Yeah, I think it was your turn. He nullified McGregor. Right, he completely nullified McGregor, and then he was able to change the game at half time, and well, we know what happened. You know, there's never a good time to be a Celtic fan these days.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's Kieran, sorry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, Kieran. Why couldn't Rodgers see that and go, well, do you know what? They're trying to nullify McGregor. For argument's sake, hypothetically, I'll push McGregor up into number 10 role, and I'll bring McGowan on in his place, or Bernard on in his place. Do something that they don't expect. Rather than going, well, I'll bring on James Forrest, and I'll take off you, man. and I'll bring on this guy. Like, do you know,
watched
there's
that part today when I seen. I like Forrest now. I'd like him to. I get a wee bit caught up with the fact that I had him to get his goal last season. See now, I'm just kind of like, it's sort. You've done your piece. Thanks very much. Move on. You know.
But he's taken off even that winger.
We shouldn't be
too many
relying on.
wasted
We
chances.
shouldn't be relying on Forrest coming on to win his games. I've got no problem with James Forrest being in the squad and coming on with 10 minutes to go because our wingers ran his arse off. Right, Forrest, I've never been his greatest fan. Fair play to lad. He's buckled down and he has worked his arse off for Celtic every single season. There's no doubt about it. To still be as fit as he is at his age and still, do you know what I mean? So even a wee bit of sentimentality, I don't mind that. Do you know what I mean? If he's agreed to stay with Celtic to end his days, be a one club man, fair dues. But he shouldn't be in a position. And this is, I think it's unfair to put Forrest in that position. I mean, let's face it, he's no Ryan Giggs or Ronaldo or, do you know what I mean? He's no once in a blue moon he'll come on and change a game. But which is just really what he's always done. But you can't rely on Forrest to come on and do that week in and week out at his age.
I wasn't
unfair on him.
And I wasn't having a pop at Forrest there either. It was he was just the name that sprung to mind. But what I mean is, by what Rodgers done by taking off the one guy that was an outlet, I can never remember his name, the Tunisian lad. The Celtic lad, who was fabulous.
Different every pod.
Yeah, but they take him off. I don't mind if they take it off Negrin and put on Forrest. I'd be going, yeah, he'll help Donovan. He'll give him a bit more cover. But to take off Chineki and then bring on Forrest and bring on the other lad who was completely rubbish, and then you're going you know, how he can see on that pitch. Well, I'll constantly repeat myself, that the one outlet, the one guy that looked like a threat for Celtic is a guy they're taking off. And you could see him sitting in the dugout and he looked fairly pissed. Taneki looked fairly annoyed to be taken off. He looked like a very unhappy guy sitting there to be taken off, as I'm sure most people are when they're taken off. But I just find it baffling. And as I said, a manager like that, he should have been able to say, right, they're marking McGregor, push him maybe further forward into number 10 role where he used to play or something like that. Bring on McGowan, bring on Bernardo, change it. Do something that they're not going to think you're going to do. Instead, it's just so predictable. We nearly all know, 60 minutes, subs should be coming on now.
Yep.
We know that, and everyone else knows that. Do you know what I mean? It's like a clueless manager,
I couldn't agree more with you, mate. But it's a sad indictment of where we are. That we're relying on James Forrest. He's been a great servant,
right?
And you know what you're going to get with him, and he will work hard. His legs are not the same as what they were, but as Mark said, we shouldn't have to rely on Forrest coming on to try and win his games. But still, he's worth more than that Nygren. He's like an empty shirt and frustrates the absolute life out. I mean, he's shown every ounce why he was £1.5 million. But it's no all in Rodgers. Rodgers will blame the board. The board can blame Rodgers. They're both as much to blame in this as each other. He shouldn't have been back. He's back. They should have maybe got his signings that he's brought in since he came back. That they've been rotten. He wouldn't even start one of them today. And Trusty, and he put an academy player in. I can understand how they're not wanting to give him money to spend, but however, look where we are with striker wise. We've got Kenny and Shin, and neither of the two of them I think would start for any other flipping team in this league.
I agree.
Kenny's a willing runner, and he'll work hard, but at times he's caught kind of on his heels. I don't know about that. He's caught his heels, and positional wise, I don't know. It's as if he doesn't know where to be. But he's a young boy, and he'll learn. Hopefully, Shin hasn't played a lot for us. However, he looks stronger and a bit quicker and maybe a wee bit more intelligent than Kenny. But should he be starting up front for Celtic? No.
Is he still a young player, Jerry? He's 22.
Who,
Ian
Kenny?
Murray.
Kenny, aye. Kenny, aye.
He's 22. Dane Murray's 22. But, I mean,
They're young.
talk
They're young and they've not had a lot of first team football.
Aye.
Aye, I get that.
Aye.
I get
But the
that.
thing is, see, we like Sir Murray, Kenny, and Donovan. You can't just write these young boys off, because see, if we do, we're as well scrap the academy. You need to give these players time. They need games. They're going to need experience. They're going to make an ass of things. That's life.
Murray's
the three of
injuries
them-
haven't helped his progress.
No,
Terms-
They're only,
Three of them
they're
probably
only
shouldn't be
experienced to
starting.
get to the B League.
You don't want.
Yeah.
They're
No,
not going
that's
to get
nonsense.
in that. But
No,
the
that's
three of them
rubbish.
probably should be starting together for a Celtic team.
Like, I
in a
might
game
go and
like
see
this.
Clydebank v Celtic in the B League next week down in Yoker. That's how bad it is, you know. Like, that's what that's a level they're expected to improve at, you know.
And then go in and play first team games for Celtic, and then get written off after 5 minutes.
Exactly.
It's all
aye.
about confidence and experience for these young boys. But for the three of them to be starting a game like this for Celtic right now, it's
Aye,
no ideal.
Listen, it's not their fault. I'm not blaming any of them. But it's just the situations they're put into. It's the style of football. The style of football they're being asked to play.
And Rodgers is going to blame the board for no giving them the players he wants.
And
But
Rodgers is going to. Rodgers is also going to say, Johnson's out, Jota's out. You know, Maida was out. You know, there's so many mitigating circumstances that they could kind of hide behind. But even when these players, maybe not Jota, but maybe
they
when
can't hide behind Eden. They should have replaced Kyogo. They knew he was going last summer, then waited to the January. Still not replaced him. Rodgers' get out is because he's going to say the amount of goals that have went out of that team to what he's been given. How's he meant to make a ham's fist of things with this? Because he's been set a pig in a poke. The board, it's from top to bottom, we're an absolute shambles. Absolute shambles.
There's a young boy, Osmond, I think it is, who signed from Fulham in the summer, a summer or two ago. He's never had a look in. Now, I don't know whether it's just because
he must be absolutely honking if he can't get a look in that squad the way things are now.
He was the top scorer in the Premier League too, or something. You know, like the public have got a big reserve league down south. He's the top scorer in that.
So was that boy for Man City? Was it Pussy?
Yeah,
he get Player of the Year in that, and look at him.
Yeah, and what's happened to him?
Had a honker at East Fife. He's meant to play at East Fife, and they get hammered, and he'd an absolute howler. Granted, you're not going to write somebody off after a game, but if he's struggling at East Fife, then there's still hope for me and you, Mark, to make it centre half for Celtic.
Aye. But see, just getting back by you on that Negrin one today, Jerry.
Yep.
I don't think it done much wrong there. See if that came off for him, that was a cracking goal. I don't know.
I know what you're talking
about. One of the pundits said it was a good. I don't know who it was. He said it was a good save. For me, it was a good save.
But Lennon, he's talking more shite than flipping three arses put together. You put the laces through it.
I think it was actually Sutton. I think it was Big Phil.
No, I think see if that came off for him. He's done well there. Actually, I mean, I do get what you say, Jerry. He's dead. He's hot and cold. 10-minute spells during games, but I don't think he really done much wrong there then.
Nah, he's
there's certain
fire laces through it.
Yeah.
There's certain aspects of the day, right? You've just got to like tip your hat and say, all right, Hearts got one up on us, right? But it's the lack of the lack of like fight and the way we just fell apart that you're just like, what we might do now, you know? They don't, you're right, whoever said, was it Mark? We never have any plan B, you know? It was the complete falling apart and not being able to put yourself back together. Now, there's instances where that did happen, that when teams have fallen apart in the past. You know, I can think of various times when it's happened, but just now we don't seem to have it in us to play another way. And you're absolutely right, guys. It's all being coached in by Brendan, and until I just feel that until Brendan walks, even though he said he's not going to, until he walks is forcibly removed, then, as I was saying when I first come on there, we're in for a long season, guys.
They've got no they've got no nastiness in the team.
Yes.
They need a couple of really, really nasty people in that Celtic team.
Yeah.
They
We need
need
a
that.
spine. We need a spine. We need a big, hairy
Oh, you
ass,
do.
old-fashioned centre back.
Well,
put it
Mark,
We
if
need
you look at,
we need a
sorry,
hard
Mark,
man in midfield, or a couple of
Yeah.
hard men in midfield, and we need a big Nacho who's got a bit
Yeah.
of physical presence. But again, we need strength. We need strength up in the final third
Yeah.
as well.
But
That's
there's a
what
guy on the
this whole
Discord,
team's
right?
missing.
There's a guy on the Discord that's always shouting for, is it Benigmimi of Hearts? Is it Henke Scales, whatever he's called? Henke
No,
Scales,
that's
he's always
Bobby.
shouting for Big
That's
Benigmimi. Aye.
Bobby. He's at the noise.
Is it? Aye.
Aye, he's at the.
No, but it's like that big go. It's like that big. Is it Gogic, the big boy that was at Aki's years ago?
Aye.
Right. I mean, for he was at Aki's, I said, I'm not saying that Celtic should sign him, but that's the type of player that Celtic's missing. God, there's
he
some,
gets booked a
There's
sent
some-
off every other game.
there's somebody. But somebody. Aye, but somebody like him. Just a
But
big
when-
nutcase. Mind them
Well,
big
those
Vidic.
are
Big
But when Marlon
Vidic,
came in,
big
Mark-
Vidic at Man United. Big
Yeah.
Vidic at Man United is one of the best centre backs I've seen in my lifetime. I think.
Aye.
I mean, I'm not saying we're going to sign a player at that level, but that's what Celtic's missing in that centre back position.
But when Martin O'Neill came in, Mark, one of the first things he identified was, because they were the Celtic were after being annihilated the year before by Rangers, he realised that the spine of the team was really poor. And he went away, and Bobo Balde came in, Jus Haring came in, Alan Thompson came in, Lennon came in, Sutton came in, Hartson came in. Straight down the middle of the team. And like Bobo Balde was a monster.
Big
He was a monster. Mialby was a cracking player. Mialby was there at the time, but he brought in Valharin and he brought in Bobo Balde. He brought in monsters. He brought in boys in the middle of the field. Lennon, Thompson, they were there. They came in, and Paul Lambert came in. He brought in guys, and Sutton and Hearts and all came in. He went straight down the spine of the team, and he made the spine of the team rock solid, and he made them. And every one of those guys that I named there would have no problem leaving a boot on someone. They have a nasty streak to them. You go through the Celtic team now, and they're way too nice. Way too nice. Maybe maybe Ralston would be a guy that would have no problem leaving it in, possibly Scales.
Yeah, agreed.
But other than that, if you go through the rest of that Celtic team, none of them. Maybe Bernardo if he's on, or maybe Luke McCowan. But other than that, and they don't send, none of those players would send the fear of God. They lose so many physical battles. They lost it against Dundee. They lost it again today. And as someone said there earlier on in it, when it's McGregor who's actually putting in the tackle and getting in a bit of a scuffle and getting into a whole lot, where would have Celtic players? Celtic players should have been straight in that. If that was the old Celtic team under Lennon,
Greg Taylor
Greg Taylor would have been in there.
Greg Taylor would be looking up cute flights in for Greece watching that
Yeah.
tackle they did on McGregor. No, that tackle, that situation.
Yeah.
Because Greg Taylor's one of the first up there to be what you're talking about, Terence.
Yeah. Whereas if that was in the old,
a horrible wee. Do you know what I mean? A horrible wee get.
Yeah, whereas the old Celtic team would have had Lennon would have been in there, Thompson would have been in there, Lambert would have been in there, Sutton would have been in there, Hartson would have been. They would have all been in there. They wouldn't have let McGregor there by himself. Instead, it was McGregor and there was 2 or 3 Hart guys, and you're going like, you know, show a bit of nastiness about it. Like I always remember Roy Keane saying when they were losing and they were under pressure, he said sometimes I just want to smash into someone.
Yeah,
there's no one in the Celtic team that you can see do that.
That's him with a kick about out the back door with the Waynes.
But that's okay. I don't mind it. I do that with TJ. That's fine. but you know, Celtic don't have that.
Definitely, 100%. Terence. I mean, I kind of put a wee bit of kind of hang me on it and call it professional pride. That's what I call it that. But for me, that's what it is. I've said it earlier on. Once the players cross onto that park, forget the board. It's down to what the managers tell them to do, and whether they do it, and how much effort and fight they're putting into it.
That's why you'd rather Celtic sign Scott McKenna, and even that Gogic guy that you mentioned. I know people say he's not Celtic level, blah blah blah, whatever. But someone that has no problem leaving something there, like.
Oh,
And you know what you're going to get with
that
him.
big-
Ken's good to it.
That big Gogic is the type of player, right? See if Celtic did go out and sign him even just for like in January for £500,000 just to do something, right? He's the type of player you'd probably say, right, he's getting sent off the next Derby game. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we've not got a player like that. We've not got a player that you're going to say here, wait, you know, this guy's a bit of a borderline lunatic. Ralston's got that kind of maniacal look about him and puts that about. But again, he's not a first choice player. But we've
He
not got
does
any
look
of that
mad, doesn't he?
physical. We've not got any of that kind of physical nutcase in our team just to.
You need a few hammer throwers.
Aye, put in some hard tackles. Show that we're there. Show that we're there on the park. And if you've got the ball, I'm going to boot you. And see when we've not got the ball, I'll move.
Same with the jump.
Aye, and when I get booked for booting you, the next guy's moving up to boot you. That's what I mean. This is it's all part of this kind of the dark arts in the football and that these days. And Celtic's shocking at it. Are we too nice? Are we too
Way
nice?
too nice. Mark, you've got
See, the
guys.
thing is,
You've got guys
how
picking up
many
players
times-
when they found them.
How
What's
many
that about,
times are
like?
we going to be backed against the wall and you're going to be playing a player like Gogic? Gogic is only used for if you're flipping defending with your lives. If you're wanting to play football, he's no the man you're going to be having at centre half. But
No,
I can understand what I totally get what you are saying. Rodgers wants to play a passing type of football. Ange wanted the same. Players like Gogic, they're not going to be signing them. They look good in teams that are under pressure constantly because they're having to defend. They don't need to play football. They just lump the ball forward. They all look the same. It's the same with some of the keepers we've signed because they look good. It's because they're under pressure all the time. They don't need to think. They've no time in the ball. No pressure on them. They just heed the ball and get it to fuck. But if we're looking, I know I can understand what you're saying. That's their mentality, but the level of football player, Christ Almighty, the reason they're still at Hamilton and Mum.
But I mean, Jerry, they should be looking at a Neil Lennon, an Alan Thompson, a player like that.
Listen, I love players that get a bit of nastiness about them. I mean, I'd get through some of them as well if I'd half the chance, but. The here and now is frightening. Rodgers isn't going to walk. The board's shafted him. They're definitely not going to get rid of him. We're stuck with this, but the board should never allowed this get this far. If he wasn't going to be prepared to stay for after this season, they should have hunted him. They shouldn't. They would never let any of their players get into the last 12 months of their contract without either pumping them or extending the contract.
But why
So
give
why
him
have
a
they done it with
3 year?
him?
Well, but why give him a 3-year contract then, Jerry? Why not just give him a 2-year contract
Or just a new-
a 1-year loan contract? This is where I get back again. I'm going to bring it up again. If we had a director of football in there, it doesn't matter who's going to be the manager or coach or whatever you want to call it next season. This guy's running the show. It doesn't matter if Rodgers wants to sign them or whatever.
You need to have a football man though as a
Celtic want
director
to
of
sign
football.
them.
You know what director of footballs these days they're talked about, but a lot of teams get like director of football that they've never been players. You know,
Aye.
you need to have somebody that's actually been a player, somebody that knows what it's all about. You know, because you're pissing in the wind if you're just getting somebody in that's never really played the game. And I feel that's the route a lot of teams go down and they suffer for it. I mean, we all talk about getting Martin O'Neill back as the director of football.
No,
That ship sailed long ago. That ship sailed so long ago, right?
20 years ago, that ship sailed nearly. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. Like, who would you have in now? You know, who can you think? I mean,
Certain.
like, there's a
But no,
shout.
but
Don't know
reading,
if he'd do it, but there's a shout.
Aye.
Rab Douglas is back up.
No, I thought Farage a kind of director of football role. As long as you've got a right. I mean, I get back right.
He's not got
I
a
can
plan B.
No, but I can remember like Ajax had
Van der Sar.
Overmars and Van der Sar as the CEO and the director of football, right? So obviously they two were working in tandem. So I would have somebody with Ange working alongside, like, again, a strong CEO. Because there has got to be that
get it up the
balance.
Huns and get in Kevin Muscat as coach and Ange's director of football.
But there has. I mean, we going about money. We should spend it, right? But I mean, we all know, right? Realistically, there's got to be a balance. We can't just have a guy in there wanting to just spend every penny we've got in the bank on stupid stuff. There's got to be a balance. But Like Ange
With
with
my missus.
a strong CEO and letting Ange like overlook stuff. I don't know. Even Ronnie coming in and putting him in charge of like the youth setup. I mean,
I was
Chris,
going to say that, but
Chris
he just get
McCart.
pumped for that job there.
Aye, but put him in charge of the youth, Jerry. Let him. I mean, how long's Chris McCart been running the show earlier?
He's still with us.
Aye, he's still the head of the youth academy and that. Who's the fresh ideas there?
Nah, he's like I think that's for the
Maloney.
needs to freshen up to start.
Think,
the
aye,
whole
but
the whole
aye.
system right through needs to freshen up. You know,
And
from
I
you
see
right
the
through.
jobs for the boys and that. Jobs for the boys
Aye.
are all right when it works out for you. Do you know what I mean?
But not when it doesn't work and you stick with it.
Aye,
You just
aye.
keep on going. Aye.
Aye, I mean, it's like, let's face it, we spoke about it. Would Brendan Rodgers, Martin O'Neill ever been Celtic managers if they hadn't been brought up Celtic supporters? No. So that's good. Do you know what I mean? But for the same extent, Charlie McGrew shouldn't get a job at Celtic just because he played for us.
Yep.
Sorry, Jerry. I'm not that's your pal and that, but
Mm-hmm.
but it is.
Disgusted.
It should be the best people for the best jobs. And fair dues, if the best people they happen, they have like they're friends with the Dermot Desmond or whatever are Celtic supporters. That's fair enough.
Aye.
But no, just getting the jobs for that reason. Does that make sense? What I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So,
100%.
Aye.
what about Musket? Would we take him?
Why not?
Muscat.
Aye.
Aye.
Why not? I
Who,
would.
Marco?
What is
What's that?
Kevin Muscat? What is? That's playing the midfield.
No, as coach with Ange's director of
Go
football.
away to fuck. Kevin Muscat, Celtic manager.
Aye.
Oh no.
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 Why?
Tell us how you really feel, Mark.
He worked with Ange in Japan, right? And he was all right. And apparently they were good together. So, you know, unless he's a pure dive in the Will Orange man, then
Just walked through. I wouldn't take Ange back. See, I hate going back the way. Doesn't work out. Rodgers is an example. Tierney's another example. There's umpteen of them. Doesn't work
No,
out.
I would take Ange to the end of the season.
Nah. He'd just go 4-3-3 the same way. Do you think he's going to get a tune out these half-wits now? No chance.
Aye.
No.
At least it might go above walking pace, though, Jerry.
There's the Henke asked you a good question. Is that Lord Hockey coming in?
Well, that's the talk, isn't it?
Aye.
Keep
I've
the
seen that.
gossip.
I said to you something last season about him, but whether it's true, we don't know. And then the other night, I said to you again, no smoke without fire.
No. And I mean, there's been rumours in that about like Peter Lilwy's health and that. Again, not going to get into that. That's too personal kind of thing. But
Yep.
There's got to be something changing. I mean, it's like there's people in the Discord on it, or what we got to do and stuff, and the season's early, all the guys' season's early. There is no way in the world this board isn't going to stump up some money in January.
Neil Lennon,
Right.
back in.
I'm right, and I'm saying I'm still. See, even though we get beat today, I'm still 100% convinced we'll win the league.
Aye, Hearts might finish second the way they're playing now. They might.
I've still not get no like qualms. I really haven't.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
We're going through a bit of a
The only
shitey
problem
time.
is
Down and
between
down.
now and January,
Aye.
dropping points.
What? But you were saying there about January, Jerry. No, you can correct me, Mark, if this is wrong. But from the rumours that you hear, is that apparently the Dermot Desmond is no longer communicating allegedly with Rodgers. They're after falling out. All the signings that this Dr. Football apparently guy has been saying, these are the guys. Rodgers has ignored them all, and there seems to be a complete disconnect between the football inside the scouts director, whatever you want to call it, football management thing, and Rodgers. Is that the case, or is that misinformed? Because if it is the case,
nobody knows, isn't it?
Because if it is the case, then someone needs to go. Then there's no point having Rodgers there if for argument's sake, this Paul Tisdale fella is giving names of guys. Look, there's this guy, and Rodgers is saying no. I don't know, but this is what I'm hearing. If that's what he's saying, and then at the same breath saying, "Well, they're not getting any players. I'm not getting any players. I'm not getting anyone in."
That thing about I put up on the chat the other night, Terence, she talking about it's a kind of, it's like a battle of wills even between, and it looked as if it was a three-way battle, wasn't it, between the board, Rodgers and Tisdale. Tisdale wanted people, Rodgers said no. Rodgers wanted people, Tisdale said no, and the board just sat there and says, I will let the two argue about it and we'll kid on, it's none to do with us. That was basically the gist of that message, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Where does the buck stop? I mean, we look at it, them like across the water and that, right? I mean, I said this to Jerry. See that carry on ball and shooting and screaming at guys' faces in an airport and that. No way do I want Celtic fans to end up like to that stage of like personally bawling and shooting at Peter Lowe in his face when he's out of his family and stuff like that. That's just arsehole behaviour in my opinion. Yeah. But there's still got to be something that the buck stops with. We're CEO, Beaker Nicholson, the wee anonymous man. We never hear from him. We do it's all third party stuff and all this kind of nonsense and all the politics. Even Terence, we've not spoke to you for this, right? We'll go on the collective stuff in that, Terence. What do you think of that? Like, it was a big thing about, well, Brendan said this, Michael will blah blah blah, and Michael Nicholson shrugged his shoulders. But don't ask somebody else about what somebody said. Ask the person that said it, because they're the only person that can answer that. Michael Nicholson, for me, he's as toxic as Peter Lowell is. No matter what happens, he needs to be moved on. There needs to be changes between the Lowell needs to go now, and I've backed him to a certain extent over the years. He's know that, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Right, but it's because the actual attachment to Celtics became too toxic. And now Michael Nicholson, and I don't know, is it through his own fault or through, has he been set up as a bit of a dummy for the board or whatever? But again, it just became too toxic. Nothing's going to change that relationship with the board anymore. So that's one of the reasons that there needs to be some changes at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking through all the stuff, Mark, and listening to it and the feedback that you got after the meeting. It just seemed to be a box ticking exercise for the Celtic board to go. Well, we've met them. Why have we not spent money? We have. Why is there a problem with this? There isn't. Why is there that? No, everything's fine. So basically, why is this? And it was nearly like dealing with a spoiled child of about 5 years of age. You're not having sweets. I am. No, you're not. I told you you're not. Well, I'll get them myself. So, well, you won't get them. I told you you're not getting them. It's nearly like that because I mean, it was basically we'll meet them.
Mum said I could have them. Big boys done it and ran away.
Yeah. Whereas it's a case of we'll meet these different groups. We'll meet we'll meet them. We'll speak to them. We'll listen to their questions, and we'll give them the most childish answers possible. And then as far as the Celtic board are going, well, we honoured it. We met you. You wanted to meet us. We answered questions. Did you really do that? No. They didn't answer. Like, for them to say that there was no problems, there was no issues, there was no nothing, that was like sticking your head in the sand. But to them, it was like, well, we met all these supporter clubs. We met everyone. We discussed everything. We're all happy out now. And it's far from but there seems to be a huge disconnect up in the higher powers of Celtic between the board, the football director, whatever you want to call him, Paul Tisdale, Rodgers, whether it's Michael Nichols and Desmond and Lawwell and what. There just seems to be a massive disconnect, and it's slowly but surely has filtered into the team. Slowly but surely has filtered down into the team.
It's not going to change there.
No, it's not. It's not, Jerry.
It doesn't matter who they get in. As long as Desmond's there, pulling all the strings, he'll just get another 3 yes men in. That is the problem. It doesn't matter. I mean, I spoke to somebody the other day, and they're going on about the collective, saying they want rid of this one, want rid of that one. but they can't come up with solutions about who they want to put in, or nobody's come up with a solution about who to put in there.
No idea. No idea who the have.
He's an opinion on title differ,
but that's not up to them, Jerry. That's up to Celtic to put the best people in there.
I mean, totally get it, and I agree with you 100%.
Go back to Don Mackay, and I keep bringing this up. Don Mackay didn't apply for a welding job. He didn't turn up and say, "Here, can you weld, mate? Aye, right, you start on Monday, where's your papers? They're there, right, no bother." He went through months of talking and interviews and this fancy heat-hunting recruitment system, and he was there for a matter of months. So what went wrong there?
He went through the same process and fund fucking Ross fucking Lovell, or whatever the hell his name was. No, it's not even Ross Mark Lovell, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. And they skivered the Euro or world for the best person, and he just happened to get it the same way. What's his face? Nicholson. He was sitting right under their nose, and he became the new chief director after they get rid of Mackay. So they're a shambles. Would you let them pick or do anything? We're just an absolute laughing stock. We've went for think we're well run, a big team, a big club, to want to try and portray we're a big club, but don't want to act like
we are a big club. We've just got a small mentality.
Never been run like a big club. Said that for years, Jerry. I've said it for years.
We've got a big fan base that's loyal and keeping all these people money in their pockets. I
started the forum, I started the podcast, even though we were racking up trophies and that, I've always said that Celtic were very, very, very poorly run for the money we were making, the size of the club we've got, the worldwide support, the fair dues, we're making some serious dough with Adidas and that, but we're no using the money to progress as a club. That's always what's annoyed me. Celtic, we should be like PSG. We should be the PSG. I don't mean like PSG pushing Champions League, but we should be like the PSG of Scotland, the Bayern Munich of Scotland. It should be a shocker every single season for now to eternity if we don't win that league.
Can I ask something else about the rant? See the collective. Do you think there's any conflict of interest with certain people it's on that?
Has to be.
1 minute they're afflicting the board, and then next minute they're wanting to kid on their chair in meetings.
Aye.
There has to be, Jared. There's too many different personalities involved in that for them all to be on the same page.
I totally get it. That's why I'm hoping that this thing doesn't fall apart where it becomes ego driven and too many fan groups.
I said that from the very start, Jerry.
You want to all be pulling in the one direction, but there's one or two of them.
Went up, but like the Huns with the Sons of Struth with that wee Halloween Houston, and that wee. What was that? Mind that great? Who was his name? Mind him that funny. He couldn't. I'm cheap to say it. He couldn't talk right. That was it Craig Graham? Craig Graham. Craig Graham or something like that. I think it was.
It's them redness syndrome.
No, but it was fucking on STV News and everything doing interviews, and do you mind to get put on the board and get put off for an anti-Muslim rant or something? Do you know they get something in the chat on over? Right,
I know.
I don't know about that. That's bad.
It's like if you want to be involved in that, that's what you to be involved in. You can't be. I'm not like to start slagging off, I mean, you can't be making money off of what stuff Celtic are doing, blah 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 blah, and then like want to be put yourself forward as a figurehead of this new fan movement, the Celtic Collective.
Of course.
Yeah.
No.
But you even the Dan McCoy or the McCoy one, Mark, that you're talking about there, going back. I'd say it was just a case that this was a guy that had new ideas and new things, and all of a sudden the Celtic board thought, "Oh, hold on a minute, this guy's thinking way outside the what we're thinking here, and no, we don't do this, and you shouldn't be doing this, and one thing or another." And he's probably like, "Well, no, this is the way it is. This is the modern day business is run, or whatever." And all of a sudden they were like, "No, we don't like that," because there's no coincidence that Peter Lawwell stepped down. McCoy came in for a short period of time. Then Who was the chairman at the time? It's Celtic. What's his name again? Who stepped down after that? What was the chairman's name?
Bankier.
Yeah, Bankier stepped down. Then all of a sudden, Michael Nichols came in as CEO, and then Lawwell came back as chairman. You know, it's nearly like Peter Lawwell's still CEO, but as a silent partner, in a sense that he's chairman stroke CEO, because they said that in the recent meeting that they had with this fan base, they were Michael Nichols and the other McCoy, the finance guy. There was a question asked them, and one of them responded, "Well, I do the finance, and he's the contract guy." Michael Nichols is apparently, I think, a solicitor by profession. I think that's what he was.
That's what he was, John Terence, before he moved up. He looked after the contracts and stuff like that.
So he looked after the contracts. So when Don McCoy was been apparently alleged to have said, "Oh, he done this or that with a bad contract, and he messed it up and did this," but surely to God, like
Nicholson just signs it off as if
I don't believe that. I don't believe
that. See that. Just hold on, Kieran, before you go. I know where you got to go. But see that terms. That just means like Nicholson just signed off like the legality. He wrote up like this is how blah 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 blah, and the figures in that. But see, that at the point at that time, terms been on to David Nicholson. He just accepted fucking the CEO, the finance guy, knew the figures that he was signing off on.
Oh no, I get all that, and I understand where you're coming from. But what I'm trying to say is, you'd imagine that there would have been a bit more investigation or a bit more reading the small print or whatever way you want to call it than just all that. But look, that's all well in the past. But I don't know. I just find it weird that all changed all of a sudden, and now you had a chief executive leave. Banky then leaves, then the ex-chief executive comes back in as chairman, and then one of their buddies who initially who was already in the building but wasn't considered to be the chief executive could then all of a sudden become the chief executive when the chief executive was basically released of his duties. Like Michael Nichols was in the building. Was he ever considered?
That's what I was going to say. Was he considered before Mackay came in?
Was he ever considered before Mackay? I don't know.
Dr. Strangelove is saying there the board need to externally audit it and removed if they don't bring it to the table. But that's the thing, I know. But see, when you look into the kind of roles in that, and it's like Peter Law's a non-executive chairman. There's other non-executive directors. It's these people's job to make sure that the board are being run right and doing the best for the shareholders and stuff like that. So
but the influence that Lawwell must still have inside in Celtic must be enormous. But
legally, Terence, legally he's no.
I get legally, Mark, but legally and not legally, that's like the chief executive allegedly having to leave the room to phone someone to see could they go from 800,000 to $1 billion. For McGowan. What's the point in the chief executive being in his position?
But see, Terence, see if Peter Law was putting that kind of
exerting
that kind of power over the board. The non-executive, other non-executive directors should be stepping up to the plate and saying, no, this isn't right. It's supposedly this non-executive directors means that they're the ones that kind of make sure everything's been run right. They make sure that there's no kind of weirdness and nepotism and all this going on. And this is another pure abstract, abject failure for the Celtic board. Now, what is it they say? Who's watching the watcher?
Yeah. Oh no, and that's fair enough. But what I'm saying is, I just feel that he would have a big influence on the likes of Michael Nichols. Michael Nichols would be going for him for advice.
It's like TJ becoming your boss in 25-year time.
Yeah.
Telling you about today. Do you know what I mean? You're like, well, hold it, son. It's always Peter Lawwell. I know what you mean. The kind of the spectre, the shadow of Peter Lawwell, because I've said it before, there's no a boardroom or a meeting in the world that Peter Lawwell's no get the ego and attitude just to swagger into. I mean, the comparison, I make this as a joke, but the comparison for me was and always will be Vince McMahon for the wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Peter
Well, that's
Lawwell
what
walks in there and I get what you mean, Terence.
I just think if Michael Nichols walks into the Celtic building, obviously he's going to be met with the respect that he deserves. I just think
ask for ID.
Yeah, I just think when Peter Lawwell walks into the building, I think we would see a different reaction. Chairman or no chairman, chief executive or no chief executive. I think one has a different aura about him.
It's the same people, Terence, that are sitting in that boardroom when he was the main man. So that's a kind of psychological thing for no Peter Lawwell still to be the main man.
Oh yeah.
As I said there, legally and all that stuff, it shouldn't be happening. And that's the problem then. If people on the board are overstep the mark, that's something that needs to be addressed. Or are they just, what we always say, are they just that out their depth, they don't know what today turns? Did they know what today was 70, 80, 100 million pounds? Did they know what today?
Oh no, I agree with you, but if there's such a big falling out, Mark, between the main influences in Celtic, i.e., as I said, if there's a falling out between Dermot Desmond with Lawwell on his side, and there's a falling out between them and Rodgers and the whole Tisdale, if there's that much of a falling out between all those people, allegedly, if that is the case from what you hear, that's obviously seeping into the team. Something has to be done. Someone has to go. And it makes obvious sense who has to go. But I don't know, obviously I don't think they will, like you're saying here. But the only way for this to be ended is for that individual to go. And someone can come in that there is a proper chain of command and a proper communication from top to bottom. Because at the minute it looks like it's massively fractured.
But again, it goes back to people and looking for the outside in. They don't actually know what to do.
Oh yeah, look, I'm guessing that from the information that you hear and the stuff like that apparently these people aren't speaking with each other and all that kind of stuff. And if that's the case, then the team are the ones that are going to suffer. The fans are going to suffer. If there's that much of disharmony between them all, then something needs to give. Like,
I mean, we're talking about like these old. I mean, they're all men. That's basically what they're in. I mean, people joke about it and say it's like like the old kind of the bowling club set up. I don't know if you get bowling clubs there in Ireland, Terence, right? Bowling clubs are just just wee guys.
The golf club, Mark. The golf club.
No, golf clubs are a bit higher up than that. And at least they're like Catholics and bowling clubs are like Catholics in. But it's just wee guys. I think they're so important because all this bowling club runs on them looking after the money and stuff like that. But at some point in time, and we've been over this, do you know what I mean? Kieran's on your own terms, maybe they've all heard that off like that, me and Jerry and JFP, but it's like they Celtic as a club, that anybody running this club, even down to Dermot Desmond, which is shocking the way he's doing it, do they know how to spend the money? Are they scared to spend it? Are they scared to turn around and spend it on a museum in case it flops? They spent £20 million on that and only made £2 million last year. That's a waste of money. Do you know what I mean? We can't, let's be honest, we're never going to spend that kind of money on the team every season. Right.
But then it's they're neglecting their duty then, allowing us to accumulate all that money, and then you're paying tax or corporation tax, whatever it is.
£12 million in tax.
Exactly. That's
no. But what I'm saying to Terence and Kieran is, do they think that the Celtic board are just scared? Are they? I mean, I've said that. I'll admit it. See, if I was on the Celtic board and you're sitting there for all the years, and then all of a sudden you've got all this money, I wouldn't know how to get into Celtic, and spend the money Celtic's got for the better of them. But it's not my job. I'm not earning money to do that. We're at the point here that there's nobody on that board, and I'm going to include Dermot Desmond in that because that's the shocking thing for somebody that's made the amount of money he has over the years. that we don't know how to invest that money to make us better. A, as a football team, B, as a club, and C, just to continually make money off it.
Well, then he's not got the right people in place.
That's
If
exactly
they've-
what I'm.
if
Are they
they've taken-
scared? Are they
they've
just
taken the-
incapable?
But then, if that's the case, they've taken the Celtic as far as they possibly can. A lot of them have been there too long anyway. But if you've got people in positions that are incapable of doing their job, then it's if it's no replacing them and getting rid of them, then you're not running your company correctly. And that's what he's meant to be doing. He's meant to be running or helping us be running the best of our abilities, the best of his abilities. And if you can't do it, you get the person in there that can do it. It's
But
simple as that.
Surely, Mark, and I fully agree with what Jerry just said there as well. But surely, Mark, you imagine that a club of Celtic stature and the people that render that hypothetically that you have a template that they know roughly this is X amount of fire or X amount of wages, and they say, well, if we've got 80 million in the bank, we can say to ourselves, we can spend 15% of that on transfers. If we've got 30 million in the bank, we can spend 10% of that, whatever it may be. But there's enough people in there for a long, long time, and obviously that have made a lot of money over the years, that this is their job to be able to go, well, if we have 90 million, we can spend 15% of that on transfers. And we need the rest of it for this, and we need the rest of it for this. And we need a safety net if we don't get into Champions League or we get knocked out early, Europa League, whatever it may be, and X, Y, and Z, and balance that accordingly. At the minute, Celtic appears to be like 1 minute we might spend some money, the next two transfers we'll spend nothing. Then we might spend some money, then we might spend it for 4 transfer windows. There doesn't seem to be a set structure or an idea there to go, well, we should be able to spend X, Y, and Z on whatever it is. And they shouldn't be scared of it. That's the problem. They shouldn't be scared because they've managed to get it.
Well,
Okay,
back to what JFP
successful.
always says, Per, what's their business model? Right?
Yeah,
See
be
if
more-
we had to
be
go and
more
look at a
transparent,
team like Bruges. Like, look at their setup. Why are we not got getting folk in? Right, let's see how you run your club, how you do it, all the rest of it. They're able to bring in players for a lot of money every year, sell players for a lot of money, and still progress.
Tommy
Whereas-
Burns tried this 25, 30 years ago, Jerry. And we were on studied Ajax and stuff like that.
Yeah, but lads, when you've got guys playing against Cowden Beats,
do you think any of these clowns took it on board and implemented anything done? They gave us a training ground eventually after years of them asking that never even in an indoor part, and have built it up from the same height as the Campsie Hills, where it snows in June and July. So I'm no massive fan of the board, and they probably appeased them and let them go away over there and study things. But did they take it on board?
no, they didn't. But at the same time, Jerry, if you look at the whole setup of, say, Club Bruges at the Belgian league, they've got a reserve league. They've got guys that can come through and they're playing proper football. I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but Kieran has mentioned it there. Celtic B are going playing, who's it, Cowden Beat B or someone like that there next week.
Aye.
Like, how can you expect a young lad, as I said this loads of times in here before, like if it's a Dane Murray who's only played a few games, he's going to go down and play against a lad who's working 9 to 5 and he's playing him on a weekday or weekend or whatever it is, and he's playing him. And then all of a sudden you're asking him, well, we've a Europa League
I
game.
totally get it.
If they've been in the walk in the morning.
Yeah. Whereas at least if there was the old reserve league, you'd have a guy like Dane Murray, and he could, as I said this on here before, where a fella said he played against Alex McLeish when he was a young guy, and Alex McLeish was playing for, I think it would have been Aberdeen, if I'm correct.
Barry used to come on, wasn't it? Aye.
Yeah, he was a centre back or something like that, and he said he learned more playing against McLeish in that one game than he did in ages. You know, it's like
agree more, but why is Celtic then as a club no contacting? I mean, Rangers pulled their team out it as well. But
That's
why
what
is Celtic,
started it
Rangers, and all the rest of them no getting round and saying, listen, how can we make Scottish football better?
Why
Yeah,
is
the
the
reserve league back.
why is the SFA and SPFL?
I was just going to say that, like,
Look,
they should, the Scottish FA should be going, no, this is compulsory. This is,
Aye, if you want to
but
play,
you're,
if you want to play in your top league, you need a
yeah,
reserve team. That's it. Simple as that.
but Jerry,
Forget
they
all
can
that
do it.
shit
They can
about
do
your
it.
stadium capacity. That's what you need.
Yeah,
And even
but
if you
Jerry, they can do it for a women's league. Why can't they do it for a
Aye.
men's reserve league? And I'm not
Quality.
in any way
Equality.
sexist. But the quality. But I know, but sure, they had this years ago, so there's no reason why it shouldn't still be there. Like, I just don't understand it. Like,
that's
you're
what
asking a guy,
happened.
you're asking a guy who doesn't play regular
Rangers-
football to come in and play regular football all of a sudden, and it's not possible. Like,
It was Rangers that pulled out the reserve league, and
I
then
know.
it just kind of snowballed for there, and it died a death. And there was once, I don't even know, it might still be going on, but last time I looked, it was like just Hearts and Kilmarnock, and even I think Ayr.
Aye, there is a form. You're right, there is a form in the reserve league.
Aye, but for me, Kieran, there is, but I don't even know if anybody actually pays any attention to it. It was just something I stumbled across the last time I looked it up, and I was kind of shocked that it still did exist.
Yeah, no, I seen it a few years ago. It's like I'd seen the table of it a few years ago, and I had a wee look into it, and it's. I think I'm totally bamboozled. You know, I'm totally confused as to why we're not like why we don't have some skin in the game with that. You know, like that's how you see if we had a team like that. See if we had a team in a reserve league. Do you not think that like you know that wee guy, as I was saying earlier, Osmond, and just that even that Man City defender Pussy, he'd be at least getting a game. He'd be developing. He'd be getting better, and that can only be a benefit to the first team. But it's like they've cut off their nose to spite their face by going in a B League to do absolutely hee-haw for us.
but even Alistair Johnson, even Alistair Johnson,
If Shankland was injured for Hearts or that there, Kieran,
Aye,
for a couple of weeks. See the full lane week, Dane Murray would face Shankland and he's getting Shankland's fitness back in a reserve team game and stuff like that.
absolutely.
That's how it used to be. It kind of the young players faced these. You were talking about their terms with McLeish and that. The young players played these players when they were needing a bit of fitness or just even some of them used to just didn't fancy a game. Do you know what I mean? Some of to hearing about like Celtic players just they fancied a game of football, turned up for it to play in a reserve game.
See, like way back in the day,
even Alistair Johnson coming back from fitness, rather than him having to go into a Europa League game, which obviously
way
clearly
back in the
wasn't
day,
because
you used to get the reserve teams in your program.
Yeah.
You know, you'd get the fixtures in your program. You'd be able to see it, see the players that were coming back. Other players are playing against us. These players, they're getting better. You know, it makes so much sense.
But Alistair Johnson could have got 45 minutes in the reserve game to see how his fitness was, to see how his recovery is. Instead, he's going straight into Europa League game, does it again, and he's probably out for even longer.
Even 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Even no, that's not working right. I need to get off. Nobody would blink an eye. Right? It would be a big thing on Twitter. Oh, Alistair Johnson went off after 20 minutes in a reserve game, but it would just be the precaution because there's no real gamble to it as such. Oh right, I've tried that. No, this isn't working right. Do you know what I mean? As you said, Terence, there's a difference between like your thigh tightening up a reserve game that means nothing or a Europa League game.
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive. And not only that, but the Celtic lads around Alistair Johnson would learn from him. Or if it was Callum McGregor coming back from an injury or Hatate coming back, whoever it was, if it was a regular first team player and they had to come back from fitness and they went into the reserves to play 45 minutes of a reserve game for argument's sake, you can't tell me that a young 18-year-old or 19-year-old or coming through the ranks, if he's beside McGregor or beside Alistair Johnson, beside Hatate, whoever it is, that they're not going to learn something from them massively. And it's going to help their development and help their development into the first team.
What's Shin done for between the pre-season and the day?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Do you know what I mean? How much? Even again, it's not the greatest level of game time, but just playing and getting game time at a decent enough level against decent reserves.
But you can't like training and match practice for anyone. And all of us, we probably played some level of sport. Training and match practice are worlds apart. You can train all day and you can kick a ball and you can do all that, but all of a sudden when it comes up to the match day and there's There's a lot more physical contact in it. There's a lot more running. There's a lot more everything. Match practice and training are worlds apart. And you're asking players to come in that are playing a standard that is, with the greatest respects, very, very low to going very, very high. And like
Yeah,
you
I
said
think
there,
you've just
Matt, a while
nailed
ago,
it.
fellas are hammering young guys then going, he's not good enough.
And let's be
Does
honest,
Ben-
right? See in Scotland, you look at the bigger picture in Scotland, and would the reserve league actually be as big a jump for there to first team? Maybe it's Celtic, but think about like the lower level teams. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Imagine.
I don't think it would be.
Do you know what I mean by that? I mean, but
I
see,
do.
like Kilmarnock teams, like they kind of Motherwell B team and Motherwell's first team. It would no B team, reserve team. But we're talking about. They would just kind of merge. Do you get what I mean? There wouldn't be much difference. Like you get like Donovan, right? Well, they're Donovan for Celtic. Even that's probably a bad example when I'm talking about the weird teams. But Donovan could have been playing in a reserve league against XYZ for months, weeks, whatever. He comes in the day. Hearts is a bigger a test up for him. But then coming in against Falkirk, is it that big a step up for what you'd be playing in a Scottish reserve league? No, a shitey B league with youngsters, but a proper reserve league. Who was it? Somebody brought up with the Simpson Pussy guy about like that Premier League 2 thing.
I mean, me earlier on,
but I mean, we could probably look, snigger and turn our nose up at that, but that's probably. I mean, that's for me. That's what Scotland's needing, like a proper youth reserve SPFL 2. And
It just needs to be competitive level, man.
Aye, definitely. Yeah, that's it. It needs to be at a good level, competitive, a mixture of young players, reserve, like injured players coming back, older players just want a game, players that you want to keep March fit.
You made a really good point earlier on about
professional players.
Terry made a really good point earlier on about like players, about training and matches are totally two different things. Maybe Celtic's problem at the moment is Brendan Rodgers coming out and going, "Oh, he's not been training that well, so he's not going to be playing," you know, or he's been training really well, so he gets in the team. Like, it's two different things. The profile of the players, I think maybe our manager's not looking at properly, and I think that's maybe why, we're kind of not as good anymore. You know, just that link between training and, as you're saying, Ter, on a match day, is two different things. And Rodgers is concentrating on the training side of it and rewarding people for that, and they can't step up and bring their game from there to there.
They also say, Kieran, that you play how you train.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then so if this is the way that Celtic are training, the way that they're playing at the minute with the pace and the way they are, it's no wonder they're getting the results they're getting at the minute.
Yes,
you know, because it's just chronic. It's bare, like, I don't know. I'd love to know what they do in training, because it's the match days are barely above walking pace. Barely above walking pace.
It's horrible. I hate all the passing to the back, from the back to the goalie to the back, and it not going anywhere. And then when eventually it does go forward, fair enough. Today in the first half, there was a good periods when we were actually in Hearts half, and it was great. And I was thinking to myself, I've not really seen it being passed back a lot. I quite like that. It's refreshing. Half time, second half, back to the way we've been. I totally get it.
You know, it's like players are afraid to make a mistake, and the easy option is, well, I'm not going to try this pass. I'll pass it back. I'll leave someone else do it.
Yes.
I'd rather a guy take a bull by the horns and try and be offensive and attack and try and put passes through. Try and be a bit aggressive. Try to be accurate. Fine, like, not every pass is going to go to the right person or the right place, but at least if you're going to do that, surely you're going to make the opposition think a bit more. Whereas at the minute, the way Celtic play football, the opposition don't have to do anything, and they just know, like, the centre back's going to pass their lads for the first 15 minutes. We'll wait here. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. I mean, just remember when Ange was here and everybody was tossing us, pulling the heat off, and you get the youth teams playing the wide. Do you know what I mean? Playing the way that he wants them to play. And I said that at the time, but he's not got to be here forever. Is that going to change? I mean, have we heard anything from Chris McCart or any of the youth coaches that were like were teaching the young players to play the way Brendan Rodgers wants them to play?
No, I think it came out. I can't remember who exactly said it, but when Brendan came in, that was scrapped. That was put a different way. I can't remember exactly how they put it, but it doesn't happen anymore. Which is, in my opinion, stupid.
Exactly. Again, where is the kind of identity? I mean, it's what we're talking about, even for the first team right through the full club. Where is the actual identity of Celtic and even the romantic playing football the Glasgow Celtic way? Because there's no way what we're watching now for Rodgers is playing football.
That's not the Celtic way. That is not the Celtic way. You know,
I'll give you one now, right? And I should have asked it
Oh
earlier.
yes, give me one now.
No, it was Steve Kev put it to me the other day, right? He said, see if you to pick one goal for Celtic's history to like show like what the Glasgow Celtic way of playing football is, what would it be?
Oh,
I can't. I've not got that good a memory, to be honest.
The most recent ones I would have thought it had his second goal against Rangers when they won 3-0. The movement and the passing was just unbelievable. When Hatata got the 2 goals in Parkhead, the movement and the passing that day was just
Celtic's performance via Ajax in 2001 in the Amsterdam Arena.
Oh, Neil.
That's what Dave Kev said at FTR. Is that Dave Kev in disguise?
No, that's Henke.
Is that Henke? Right, that's who Dave Kev. That's who he picked. I know.
Judas
right,
86.
okay.
The Mo Johnston goal at Love Street in '86.
Aye.
Aye, there a few people are picking it. Aye.
I would need to have a think, mate. I couldn't think.
I can hardly mean the goals a day.
Aye, I've had too many hits to the head, mate. I'm the same. But
loads of people are saying
that for Wednesday
against Falkirk.
Aye,
surely, man.
Think it'll be empty?
No, I don't think it'll be empty, but I just think people will be like, I don't know. There'll be an expectation of, I think people will be going into this. If there's no goal in the first 20 minutes, there'll be panic stations. In the crowd, that is, obviously, in the fans.
Aye. Yep.
But there always is terms.
I know, but I think even more so now, Mark, because the ball might have got over the half a line in the first 20 minutes. They might be still passing it between the four and at the back, like.
No, surely we can beat Falkirk.
Surely. Well, hockey by Dundee, Mark.
No, it's you confident against the Huns as well?
Oh, of course, man.
In the bag.
Aye.
Forgive the board. I've always forgiven.
That's it. Beat them next week. And that's it. All's forgiven.
Aye.
Sack your collective off, and we'll book Peter Law's statue.
Aye. Sounds fantastic. Right, I'm going to need to shoot troops to get these dogs out, man.
Aye, that's how it was 8:30 anyway.
But it's been emotional. Terence, Kieran, good talk to you, all right?
You too, Jerry.
Thanks for having us. Right, God bless. Good night.
Right, good night, Jerry. God bless. Hail.
Bye-bye.
Oh, they're a smelly, you nan. Right, on you go, mods. Come on. Where's the mods tonight? Grot bags. Just timing that. Look, they're not even cutting them off. Aye, we'll start winding that up then. Like, what else you got to say then, Kieran? What do you think Wednesday night? Falkirk, we should beat them surely. Kieran, what's happened there?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Terence. Aye. What do you think, Falkirk? Surely.
They surely have to be Falkirk, Mark. I was being kind of a bit facetious there a while ago, but like,
Aye,
surely,
I know it's all banter.
yeah, but surely, the players and look, the players themselves need to know. Like, right, like, the players need to get. I know the managers, there's an instruction from the manager to play a certain way, but there has to be an element of responsibility on the players to go, lads, we can't keep this nonsense of passing sideways and slow passing, because they see themselves when they do pass quick and they do move quick. Again, like the Student Graz game, they looked really good for a good 35, 40 minutes. Like, they looked really good. And you kind of felt, oh God, please let them have turned some kind of a corner here. And when they do it, they look good, they create chances. If they play the same way with this slow, turgid stuff, it'll be a hard watch, Mark. I won't lie. No, I won't get to see it on evenings, but it'll be a hard watch, and I'll be checking the phone for the all Sky Sports results and things like that. I know you'll text me anyway. Fair play,
but
yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking as well. I mean, no offence to Falkirk and that. Do you know what I mean? But is it on paper? We're at home, isn't it? Surely it's a type of game that we can maybe, hopefully, score a few goals, maybe build a wee bit of confidence and momentum getting into the weekend.
I'd be hoping for Celtic to win maybe 2 or 3-0. You know what I mean? It's the lineup. What lineup they go with? Do they stick with Dave Murray? Do they stick with
look, that's idea. No pumping me, mate. I don't float that way. This isn't. Nah, it's not a dating site.
What did he say?
Like, boys want to have sexual intercourse with me, I think, terms. I'm a married man, mate.
We are pumping you next week. Well, whatever floats your boat, buddy. Whatever floats your boat.
Aye. Well, there's probably guys in here that'll appreciate that offer, mate, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, Sure, listen, I'm sure there's a few on his own side. He's probably just come from anyway, you know what I mean? But yeah, look, I mean, it's a big week ahead in regards to Celtic and with Rodgers and the whole lot. They need a result against Falkirk, and they need a performance, in my opinion. And then they need a big performance at the weekend. A big performance at the weekend. Because unfortunately, their tails will be up after winning today. But this Celtic team are, as bad as they are, they have the players that are good enough to beat a very poor Rangers team.
It's a weird one. It's probably two of the worst and lowest sides you'd see in a long time in either team. That's what I was just going to say there as well, terms. It could really go either way, but it's one of the ones. If we turn up, we're better than them. But it's down to the fact they would turn up. If we got the players to turn up and kind of grab this game with the scruff of the neck, because that's what we're needing. Terms, it's getting back to this midfield, fucking physical, putting your stamp in the game and getting your. Do you know what I mean? That's what's missing for a Celtic team. And not just get into this derby game. Every single game with Terence, we spoke about it for months.
We're very passive in the middle, Mark. We're very shy. We're very timid. You know, we've got guys in there that just like a lot of this very one tippy tappy kind of football, as I said before. You know, they're not guys that like to leave a leg in. They're not the kind of guys that would, in my opinion, some of them would kind of shirk out of a 50-50 tackle. It's not when you look at some of the Celtic players, as I said, we mentioned tonight that were midfielders before with Lamberts and Lennons and Scott Browns and Peter Grants and, just a few guys off the top of the head there, Alan Thompson. None of these guys would shirk out of a 50-50 ball. These are guys that you. Yeah, they're born and bred winners, and they'll fight tooth and nail for the last inch to win the ball. Some of these current Celtic players, they don't have that in them. That's why I'd rather see McGowan in there.
I'm going to say this as well, right? What you're talking about, and I've said this to you. We've spoken about it, even going back to podcasts with Paul and that. Carter Vickers. Is he?
I don't understand. I don't understand the hype, Mark. I don't understand the hype.
He's just so powder puff turns. He misses right there again. I mean, he's out injured. He's missed every season. He's missed games with injuries. And I mean, people going about Scales. They know about Greg Taylor was so shite. Scales is shite. Carter Vickers gets away with murder in that Celtic team. Absolute murder. Week in and week out, he gets away with murder.
I put up a post, and I haven't really put up anything on the forum in a long time. I'd read a lot of the stuff. But a lad put up there about, he said, take a minute to take this, that Scales is our best player or something like that at the minute. And I took umbrage to it, and I actually replied into him. I know the guy's name, but I won't mention it on here. But I said to him, I said, what about McGregor? What about Hatate? I said, Scales has been the best defender we've had probably for the last 2 seasons. Yet all these other guys, no one seems to write in about how bad Callum McGregor has been for so long. Yes, he played decent today. No one has writes in about how poor Hatate is. Or as you said, like everyone goes on about Carter Vickers. How many goals does Carter Vickers cost in Europe? You know, Carter Vickers is a decent defender. He's a decent defender.
When we're in the front foot terms.
Yeah.
We just need a wee bit of defending, and for he could stroll up the park with slippers on 90% of games with Celtic, which he does, and he looks good. But when Celtic need a proper defender, for me, Cal McGregor is the weakest one in there. And I've said that to you and Paul and everyone terms for years. He's no Celtic good enough to be a Celtic centre back for me.
Oh, as I said, he's a decent centre back. But he's average. But people are making him out to be something that he isn't. And a little bit like that, as I said, I mentioned that in the thing. Like Scales is now like the new Greg Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said he would get hammered constantly, like Greg Taylor will get hammered constantly. You now see how much you miss Greg Taylor when he's gone. You know?
So, definitely. But I mean, she's like Scales for me is, see if there's Bawz getting crossed into the box in that turns. I want Scales to be in there. Right, aye. And maybe be heading out for a corner or giving us a heartbreaking moment where he needs to scramble back and clear it. But that's an old-fashioned OG hairy arsed old centre back for me.
Yeah.
Scales will stick his head where other players, do you know what I mean? That kind of way, he'll do anything to stop the ball, and that's what I want.
Listen, I'm not going to say that Scales isn't prone to errors and mistakes. 100%. 100% he's like the other. But he gets hammered. Greg Taylor used to get hammered. McGregor has always got off scot-free. Carter Vickers has always got off scot-free. Casper Schmeichel gets off scot-free. With a lot of it.
Schmeichel's went down he's dropped off a couple of levels, isn't he?
Big time. You know, a lot of them have gone down. Get away with a lot of they get away with it. They can have umpteen poor games and poor performances, and it's normally the individual beside them gets hammered. You know, whereas certainly Joe Hart was a much better keeper than Casper Schmeichel. Even though
he got hammered a few times as well for some of his stupid mistakes, which again turns just old age catching up with him. I mean, see Casper Schmeichel maybe 5 years ago, Terence, he'd have saved that penalty today.
Oh yeah, I would agree with you as well.
It was just, I think Schmeichel was a bit unlucky, and it was just that wee dick that scored it. Do you know what I mean? But he picked the right way, and he was just maybe a wee half an inch.
Look, maybe I've been a bit harsh on him, but I'm just trying to say that some of the players in the Celtic setup seem to be beyond criticism, while other players seem to constantly get murdered. You know, and that's where I just find it.
But it's like it's like, how much did they cost? Do you know what I mean? That's the main. Yeah. That's the main kind of thing. How much did they cost? Or was it a Brendan signing? Was it a board signing? See if it works out well. Or great signing. Brendan done well. See if they're playing shite. That board, what's the board doing? They're signing shite. Do you know what I mean? It's just so much.
Carter Vickers came for 6 million eventually, so he has to be really good. Scales came from Shamrock Rovers, So
Aye.
can't be any good.
That's it, aye. You can only cost $500,000.
Greg Taylor came from Kilmarnock. Sure, like Kilmarnock, he couldn't be that great, to be fair. Whereas, he got Kieran Tierney back from Arsenal. Now, Kieran Tierney in the last game or two has played okay, but he hasn't been the patch. And everyone expected Kieran Tierney that was there yesteryear. And look, clearly the injuries have caught up with the guy. He was an excellent player at Celtic the first time around. And he's doing okay. He's doing okay.
He started showing up, Terence. I gave him dogs abuse and that, but fair play, he has started showing up a bit in the last few games.
He has, but he has in fairness. But Greg Taylor, I'd still prefer Greg Taylor there.
But see the thing about that, Terence, man, they were different types of player, because Greg Taylor used to come in and play that inverted role, which helped McGregor.
Massively.
Tierney's more like you're kind of more attacking on the thing. And fair dues, I think, for what we're seeing at Scarachi, the Uruguayan guy, he looks a good player as well. But if we could have managed to keep a hold of Greg Taylor and KT and had day two, I think that would have been ideal for us. I really do. And it's a wee bit romantic, but I always like Greg Taylor, and as we said earlier, Terence, he gave 100%.
Every time.
He gave aye. Even when he made an absolute arsey things, he didn't. He never put his seat down. He always gave everything he had for Celtic.
Right, and he was in a sense, from all accounts, he was a leader in the dressing room. He was a guy that was kind of, telling lads, it isn't good enough, and there's a lot more expected of him. You know what I mean? And that's what you want. But sorry, Jim Mark, if we just go back to a quick point there a second ago, you were saying about the Celtic team and the Celtic benches, like even the Uruguayan lad that's left full.
Oh, Scarachi.
Yeah, Scratch. Like, you'd ask the question, well, why didn't he come in, and why didn't they push Tierney into the centre-back role where he has played with Scotland and saved young Dane Murray instead of starting young Dane Murray? Or to me, if they've got those guys, you could go with a back three. You could go Tierney on one side, Scales on the other side, and it's fine. You might argue, they're all left footers, but come on, they're professional footballers. They're asking to kick the ball, like. I don't know. This is where, without going over all ground, I would question the manager there. I would question him again. You're putting a lad with 9 games in 4 years, and you're leaving the guy that you from back to or whatever. Like,
Terence, see what you're saying there, but that's it. See if you change the shape of the team and stuff like that, that throws the opposition off, because it's like you're saying, right, you're picking up, say, Tanecki, right? You're picking up Tanecki, but then all of a sudden, 10 minutes into the game, Tanecki's moved there and he started floating about in the number 10 role or cam role. Does the full-back follow him, or did you leave him to the centre-back or stuff like that? And that's what Celtic don't do. It's the same old replacing like for like and trying the same thing and just hoping that it's going to work better. And that never works out for anybody.
No. Oh, and that's why when you see the guys that are on the bench, and like you just mentioned them there, without going over the same old topic, I don't understand why the manager didn't go, okay, do you know what, we're struggling here. This young lad is struggling. He doesn't need to be left hanging here anymore. We need to make a few changes here and move this guy around and change the formation and do that. Like, this is why these guys get paid millions of pounds a year for. But look, it is what it is.
Our CCV's been solid and our best CB for years. Admittedly, he's been poor this season. This season, we're only 9 games into it. How many games did he miss in Europe? How many mistakes did he make in the Champions League over the years? Carter Vickers strolls through games in Scotland when Celtic's owned the front foot. He could play with slippers on, just strolling out for the back and pinging the ball about. But see, when we need somebody to defend, he's left missing so many times.
I'm not sure about the years part either. With the greatest respect, I respect everyone's opinion, but I definitely don't think he's been the best centre back that Celtic have had for years. There's been a lot of good centre backs in Celtic, and they're a lot better than Carter Vickers. That's in my opinion. Everyone is entitled to their opinion.
But I'd say skills right away. I've definitely have skills before Carter Vickers in my team. People
yeah.
used to go for seasons, last couple of seasons, if even like Scales broke into the team, oh, we need to replace Scales, we need to replace Scales. And I'm like, no, we need to upgrade on Carter Vickers.
Yeah.
Right, you need to replace your, right, and I'm not saying Carter Vick, but Carter Vick, right, he was a good player when he first came in, right, but again, teams have found out how to play him. All these reports about he's shite in the air. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's face it, for a so-called centre back, he's absolutely shite in the air. He's got no physical presence as such. Do you know what I mean? He's never charging in, claiming headers, claiming clearances and stuff like that. So for me, it's Carter Vickers that needs. It's him that needs moved on and upgraded. And
well, he's become very injury prone, as you said as well, Mark. Very injury prone.
But he's always been that, Terence. Every season he's been here, maybe not the first one, but he's missed Champions League games. He's missed. He's always had injuries, but it always seems to be the start of the season.
Yeah, no, that's very, very fair point. To be fair,
I mean, Starfelt. That's boy. I mean, that people hound at him. Starfelt was. I don't think Starfelt was as bad as Celtic fans made him out to be. I really don't. And he was another one that got battered for pillar to post on social media. I'd take Starfelt back in a heartbeat, now.
Yeah, but he couldn't have been, Mark, because it went through a season where himself and Carter Vickers playing again with each other were unbeaten. So it wasn't all down to Carter Vickers, like.
No.
Like Starfelt, if you look at it, in a lot of occasions, Starfelt and a little bit like Scales, they're left. They're the guy who's has to pick up the centre forward, like Shankill today, and whereas Carter Vickers always seems to be the free man. If you know what I mean, if there's one forward, it was always Scales or Starfelt picked them up. Carter Vickers, in a lot of occasions, was always the centre back that was, if you want to call it, the free one. If there was one up for the opposition. So yeah, like, I don't know. Look, I don't know what they're going to do, but they need to do something soon, or
it's just like, how can we go right for the way we played against Sturmgratz the other night? We played it, how shite we were against Dundee and how good we were against Sturmgratz, and for maybe no for the 90 minutes or such, but for the majority of the game, it seemed as if we'd maybe turned a corner. We were playing a lot better, more pass, more aggressive, more forward passing, getting the ball forward quicker and such, and then to that today. But then again, as I said earlier, Terence, when we went one each the other day, I couldn't see us losing the game, and then boom, just an implosion.
Well,
it was. Do you know what I mean? People are blaming Dame Murray. No G was unlucky. The penalty, again, just pure inexperience, stupid ass stuff. But just not even done to that. I'm not going to blame Dane Murray for Celtic getting beat today. Do you get what I mean? I'm not putting that on that. Avoid that. Do you know what I mean? There was players out there that just kind of again went anonymous. Started playing well, and then again they just went into shrunk away to nothing. And Rodgers just done it, but Rodgers done and made an arse it again.
But as I said, Mark, the game finished. The first half finished really, really strong for Celtic. I thought. But
2 seconds to see that. I don't believe for a minute Starfelt left Celtic because that wee bird. I don't. That's no chance. I think that's just a story that's been told. When there was going to be last year for Celtic women's team turns.
Remember that, yeah.
She went to Spain and he went to Portugal or something. I don't believe for a minute because it's an extra half hour on an aeroplane or something fair they were.
Yeah. I know. Look, that's just if he was going to go anywhere, he tried to go to the same place.
Right, sorry, Ter, what were you saying there, and then we'll wind it up, mud.
Yeah, I can't remember.
There's something angry anyway.
It was
about Carter Vickers and just Starfelt.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, man.
Right.
I can't remember what it was. It's just. Oh yeah, what it was today. Sorry, that was it. It was when the second half started and Celtic finished the first half. It looked like I was the same as you. I thought, okay, they've got right back into this now. They're definitely they were pushing big time for us for a second and should have had it. But when they came out after half time, as I said, McInnes changed his tactics and he got his opposition to push right up on the Celtic defenders and Donovan and Murray and Scales and Tierney. They pushed right up Shanklin and the winger lad, the Greek winger guy. They pushed right up. One went one went the other. But like Rodgers didn't counteract that, like, and then all the rest of their midfielders just pushed up slightly. But Rodgers saw this and he still didn't counteract it. You know, that's what I was saying earlier on the start of the podcast. To me, he's just really, really poor manager. He can't be proactive. He either has to be, this is the way I play, and if something happens, then I just have to keep playing the same way. I can't really change it. Whereas,
but that's it, Terence. He's not
a weakness.
He's not been proactive, and he's not even been reactive.
No, but it's a really bad weakness for me that he like. I'm a normal Joe, so watching it, and you can hear them on the telly, and you hear something in them saying that, oh, Derek McInnes has changed his tactics, he's pushed them forward, he's done this and that. This is something watching it. Like the paid manager, like it's like sounded like a monkey in the background there, Mark. It's it like you'd expect Rodgers to be able to adjust that and go, okay, George, come on, and we need to change this now. They're pushing up on us. Rather than playing the short ball, we'll play the ball longer up. Just something different. But I don't know.
Terence, I've said it. I would love to see Celtic switch to a 4-2-3-1.
Oh yeah,
I really would. Even down to the players that we've got available. Because let's face it, the 4-3-3 is not working.
Oh, but even today, Mark, as I said a few minutes ago when we were talking about it, like, why did they need to put young Murray in that position today? He's not a bad player. He's a fine player. But why did they need to put him into such a cauldron and such pressure? And once he done what he done after, 7 or 8 minutes, his head was fried. And understandably so. He's a young lad. He's going to be going, what am I after doing here? But like, as I said, why couldn't Celtic have gone in with an experienced guy, the Baca Juniors guy, and go 3 at the back? Completely confused Hearts. Play 3 at the back. Play your McGowan, Bernardo, McGregor in the middle in a 3, really tight 3, and try win that midfield battle. Have Nigrin on one side. Have the I can never pronounce his name, Tamaki or whatever his name is on the other side, and maybe put Engels in a number 10 role and have Kenny up front. Just something that no one would have expected.
Aye.
No one would have, and Hearts all of a sudden have been going, who picks up him and who goes with him and who goes with him? We thought it was a 4-4. And when Celtic lose the ball, you just tell the two boys, Nigrin and the rest of them. And if there's 3 midfielders, the likes of McGowan or something, or Bernardo drops back as a holding midfielder. Do you know, like, I mean, I'm not being funny. I don't know a huge amount of football. I know a bit about football. But like, if I'm saying this, surely the guy, this guy gets paid about a couple of million a year, should be able to look at it and go, oh, I'm not saying the way I said it, but he should be able to change it in some way that there's some kind of reaction. There was nothing today, like.
You don't blame Murray for the defeat. He scores an OG and gives away a blatant penalty. Who the fuck do you blame?
Listen, I blame the manager. Listen, yes, Murray. Look, Murray made an absolute shocker. 100% he made a shocker. I'm not saying he's at fault for the penalty. Of course he's at fault for the first goal. I'm not saying that.
But it's not really. Come on, was he at fault for the first goal? If it was a fucking, but the OG, right? It was poor, but I mean, it hurt his knee, hurt his shin, and fucking hurt his foot, and we're in the net. You can't, it's just for me the thought that the OG was just one of the things that was just stupid, unlucky.
Oh, look, the penalty was a stupid tackle. The penalty was a stupid challenge. The
penalty, but again, that's down to experience and stuff like that, Terence. I'm not blaming them for that, OG. That's just one of the things that can happen. I've seen some howlers the other years for Celtic players, you know what I mean? That's just one of them.
I've seen plenty of Celtic players have mayors like that and a lot more experience than young Murray.
With
To me,
some finish.
it was a great finish. To be honest, Mark, I'd be putting more to blame on the more experienced players, the more senior players, the international players that didn't turn up. Hetati didn't turn up. Engels didn't turn up. Do you know, I mean, Tierney was, or not Tierney, McGregor was okay, but then got lost in the second half. Do you know, there was, I mean, Negron was poor. He gave Donovan little or no cover. You know, so you can point the finger at the winger all you want.
See, for me, Ken, see at half time, I'm saying to myself, Hetati, another empty jersey.
Yeah,
Right? I don't know what's wrong with Hetati, whether he's been turned and he's just that. I don't know, right? But for what we've seen for Hetati for months, for weeks, we know he's a better player than that, so there's something wrong. So get him out that team. Because surely Bernardo can put in at least a better effort. McCowan's made a bit of an attacking threat than him, and at least puts in a good bit of effort. I don't know why Rodgers keeps persisting with starting with Hetati. Because for me, I mean, every game it just seems to be getting worse and worse. His play gets slacker and slacker. His decision making gets poorer and poorer. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with Hetati. Whether a move's been, do you know what I mean? Whether he's been doing a move that's went wrong or something. But my God, he's really been downhill.
Oh, he must leave. He must leave at least 5 passes comfortably short in every game he plays with the minute. When the ball comes when he goes to pass the guy, he must leave it 3 yards short of the guy every time with the opposition win it. Every time. Like he did it at the start of the match today when he gave the ball away to Shanklin and obviously they scored their goal shortly after that. You know, so it just I don't know, I'm the same as you, Mark. But at the same time, do I blame Hetati? I blame Hetati for the way he's playing. But I blame the manager for keep picking him.
Aye, definitely. I mean, when he's coming out and talking about like he's comparing daft Honda Civics to Ferraris and stuff like that. I mean, where's he putting Hetati in the kind of the core rating of how Celtic's playing?
Oh,
jump starting a Skoda in a cold December morning.
Yeah, and that's what it is, and you forgot the jump leads. That's what it's like, you know. But listen, they need to change. I can't read that now. What's it saying? Tony Cascarino.
Loving that.
I didn't even know what that is. What did he say? Tony Cascarino?
It doesn't matter.
Look, Mark, as I said here before, everyone's entitled to their opinion. We don't all agree with each other. This is the beauty of a podcast and this podcast. Some people will agree with what I say. Some people, majority probably will disagree. I'm not worried about any of that. Well, I just think that.
Oh no, it was not you. No, it was not you said that.
Oh no!
It was just a fucking. That was no right. That kind of part. We don't have that kind of part around here, mate.
Oh yeah, no. I'm just saying in general, yeah, and that's fair enough. But I just look, to me, this lies squarely at the foot of the manager and squarely at the foot of the players.
Aye, 100% terms.
They need to sort this out quickly. What's going on off the field is going on off the field. That can't be sorted till the January window, if it gets sorted then. But up till then, the responsibility for very, very well-paid individuals lies squarely in their shoulders. And it's up to them as individuals and collectively to resolve this and get this sorted. No one else can do it except them. So they either knuckle down, do the work, change the attitudes, because I think the attitude in the team, to be honest, is shocking at times. And get the finger out and have a little bit of pride in playing for the jersey that they have on them, and a little bit of respect for the thousands and thousands of people that will go watch them week in, week out.
Definitely. As it's time, it's time players start to step up. The manager needs to step up. But more than that, the players need to grow a set and start showing a bit of, again, professional pride in the jersey, showing, just actually showing what it means. Look, we're the champions of Scotland. We're the best squad in Scotland. No matter what, right? No matter what players we did or didn't say in terms, we're still the top squad in Scotland.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just time that the players stepped up and started showing that. As you said there, get back to January. I think Hearts aren't allowed to spend any money in January. I mean, imagine sitting here worrying about that. Hearts aren't allowed to spend money in January because there's some other team Tony Bloom's involved in or some shit like that. Imagine having to worry about that as a Celtic fan. Do you know what I mean? I'm still convinced that Celtic will win the league. I really am. Hearts will fall away, and I'm not really that worried about them across the water because they're not really any great shakes. But again, Celtic need to, between now and January, just dig deep in. Do you think like Cal McGregor and that?
He needs to get them all together. If I was McGregor, I'd organise something like a night out or something, whatever it is. Or I'd be certainly pulling certain players aside, influential players, and going, lads, this shit has to stop. Excuse my French.
Get a cheap night out down the strippers.
Whatever it may be. But
that deep water diving that Russell Martin took hundreds on.
Exactly.
No, but I know what you mean, but somebody just to galvanise it and say, right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the things. Mind we used to go on about with captains like Paul McStay and it was even getting back managers like Martin O'Neill that installed that kind of us against them mentality. That's what Celtic needs to get to now. Aye.
That's where I would. If likes of McGregor, you get the likes of a Luke McCowan in and Tierney in, Ralston in, a few guys, and start telling a few home truths. Start telling a few home truths, and just say, lads, if you don't want to be here, fine, stay on the sideline. If you don't want to be here, you don't want to put in the effort, don't. But don't drag us down with you. You stay on the sideline. We'll have guys here that'll come in and take your place and gladly running themselves into the ground for the jersey. If you don't want to do that, by all means, stay over there. Start telling a few home truths.
Who's the best squad in Scotland then, Frank? See what he says. No, I mean Celtic, everybody fully fit, Jota, Maeda back and all that. Who's got the best squad in Scotland?
Is he coming back?
Nah, I don't think he's got any.
Look, a fully fit Celtic squad is come to be the best squad in Scotland. But having the best squad needs to have the best attitude. You need to have the best mentality. And you can be the best player around, but if you don't have a good attitude and a good mentality, that can lead to bad results and bad performances. I just do hope that Callum McGregor grabs a couple of guys.
Oh, there we go. Hearts have got the best squad in Scotland.
Fair play, sure.
Aye, well. We'll see come May.
I'd say you could name 5 of the Hearts players.
I couldn't.
No, but that's what I would say. That's what I would say. I would just like to see the likes of McGregor, because I think someone like Scott Brown, there today, or not there today, there now, might have taken it on his own shoulders and said to guys like, this isn't good. This isn't good enough, boys. This isn't good enough. And I just hope that does happen with the likes of those boys, that they get everyone in, because I can tell you, Mark, if they don't get a reaction out of it, if they can't get a reaction after today's match on Wednesday or Thursday, there's something seriously wrong.
I mean, I'm not putting Falkirk down, as I said earlier, but surely to God we've got a team to beat Falkirk, get a few goals and a wee bit of momentum back before going into the derby next week.
That's what I'm saying.
Who have Hearts got in the cup next week? Best squad in Scotland. Who have? No. That's
Nobody.
right. Aye, that's right. They're not in it. Best squad in Scotland, but they've not got a game next week because they've got a game, but it's a league. They're out the cup. That's honestly, man. See this. I don't know. We should have started this with Big Jerry in his own. See this Tony Bloom loving. It's embarrassing. Oh, Hearts this, and the recruitment's so good and all this part. Absolute garbage turns.
Long way to go, Mark. It's a long way to go.
Aye, exactly. It's not even Halloween. Oh, Hearts, right. We'll see. As I said, come back to you in May.
Just remember what George Burley done as well when Hearts were leading.
Aye, somebody brought that up in the Discord the other day, wasn't he? That was I thought he was in. I thought he'd been charging him longer than that. Somebody said it was only it wasn't even 12 games or something when he chucked him. They told
No.
the league that George Burley.
I thought it was longer than that, but look, we won't worry about it either way.
Right, I'll let you go then, Ter.
No worries, bud.
9 bells now. Thanks very much for coming on as always, bud. So I
No
say
worries,
we'll
my
start getting a wee Irish night and a Sunday going.
Yeah,
you wee angry mate, leprechaun.
you don't have to invent it off at some stage, you know.
Right, Ter, good night, bud.
Okay,
Thanks
good
very
night,
much
take
for
care.
coming on, right?
No worries, night, lads, bye.
Right. Thanks very much to Jerry and Kieran for coming on as well. Obviously, Terence, everybody that listened in. Hope you enjoyed it. You can listen to it back below. The link to everything's in the description box below. And to the person that asked about the Apple podcast thing, I think I've set that up. If I've no, let us know because I'll sort that out as well. That's it then. We'll be back. We'll try and set one up during the week anyway, right? Hail, lads. Good night and God bless.